To a very special episode of the Big Brother Gossip Show. We promised you.
I loved that intro. That was spectacular. Glorious.
Yay!
Surprise!
We thought you would. Okay, before we get to you, though, I need to introduce, first off, he is the owner of Big Brother Gossip, Mr. Indie Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Scott. I tell you what, I laughed harder at this time than ever because I knew someone was listening to it that would appreciate it. Just the different comments of like, oh my God, she just heard that, maybe for the first time.
We also have, she is the queen of ColetteLala.com. It is Miss Colette. La 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 la. Hi, Colette.
Good evening, gentlemen. Oh my God, I am so excited, but my Band-Aids keep falling off. I feel really naked right now.
Wait, we do need video. Wait a minute, Scott. Wait, let's fix this.
And if you haven't figured it out yet, we do have a very, very special guest. One of the more polarizing figures of this current season, or the season that just ended of Big Brother. It is Amanda Zuckerman. Hello, Amanda.
What's up, bitches?
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, God, this is going to be hilarious. How you doing?
I'm doing fucking fantastic. I'm so excited to do this interview, and I'm excited for all the shit talking we're going to do.
We're going to do a lot of it.
Yes, I love it.
We're going to do a lot of it. All right, but before we begin, though, we have some very interesting pieces of audio of us. Before the season started, we took those preseason interviews and did a preview show. And I think you need to hear exactly what Ms. Colette said about you.
I love her. So she's one of my favorites so far. And I know you can't see her, but she has magnificently enormous breasts.
Yeah, she does.
Kind of desperate to motorboat them, and I don't even really go that way, but they're amazing. They are amazing. She's funny. She's gorgeous. I love the verbal diarrhea thing because I'm raising my hand right now. I totally do that myself. And that she says things that she probably shouldn't. She's not going to shy away from an argument. She'll stand her ground. She'll be incredibly inappropriate, which, again, I can totally relate to. But I find that incredibly charming.
Did she nail you or what?
Oh, my God. Now I want her to nail me.
Isolate that. Stop.
Sisters, just don't tell Aaron.
Scissor sister.
But us two men also had some comments, so we're going to play them too. Every time I hear her, I think of you. Yeah, she is going to create drama. There is no doubt about it. I do see her going far, but I also see her kind of annoying me.
No, she won't.
No. Okay.
No, and I'll tell you, and here's why she won't. Because she's packed all her teeny tiny bikinis.
Oh, yeah. You got me there.
Her breasts are like basketball balls. Okay?
You know, and
one of those straps, guaranteed to break.
And
I'm telling you, watch for it, nip slip, it's going to happen. All the men will be happy.
And she won't care either.
Still have flashback this year, so.
And she won't care about the nip slips either. Yes, that did happen too.
Nailed it.
And finally, here's what Mike said about you.
I think she's got a bit of a, like I said, real estate agent, but as I kind of came across, and other people may have come across, that she spent some time in L.A., and I have a feeling that she may get in with the cool kids that all want to be stars. I think that may get her in with the cool kids when she needs to be, but she may be out on the outside too. I like her. I think she's going to be fun to watch. I hope she doesn't tick somebody off too fast and get the boot.
Well, she ticked a few people off, but didn't get the boot, right, Amanda?
That's right.
Yeah, no, I definitely covered my bases, and I ticked off pretty much almost every single person in that house at one point, including McCrae.
We know.
Don't fuck with the Black Queen, because then you go home.
All right, well, let's start in with the questions. Colette, of course, has to start.
Yes. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Oddly enough, people are extremely interested to know, Amanda, how you ended up on Big Brother. Were you a fan? What was the process that you went through?
I was a fan. I definitely wasn't a super fan, diehard, do the whole live feed thing, but I definitely was a fan. And I got to be honest with you, I got rejected from a different show. And then
Which show? Which show? You have to tell us.
The Bachelor.
Oh my God.
No!
I made it all the way. They flew me out to California. I made it all the way there. And listen, I am so happy I did not make it onto that show. I made it on Bachelor. There's no
my God.
way I would have made it on Big Brother. So like about a year later, I applied for Big Brother online. I didn't think I did it correctly. And suddenly I just got this random number that called me, and it was like a 4 or 5 month process, and I made it on the show. So fuck yeah.
Oh my God. Jessie is smothering herself with her I'm a Victim t-shirt right this moment.
I don't copy of that. I want one of those shirts so bad. I wear it around.
We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, because I know you just got out and you reunited with your family. You went out, you celebrated last night, and we've all been seeing you on Twitter, watching the episodes and tweeting about it, which is really cool. But I don't know if you know this, but there was a very big scandal that actually was about you. It had nothing to do with anything inside the house. There was an anonymous poster on Facebook who made a post, and I can't even remember who this person was. Kind of came out of nowhere. Okay. And they claimed that you to have inside information with CBS, and that you were like very good friends with Allison Grodner, executive producer of Big Brother, and that the show was rigged for you to win. And so I just want to ask you once and for all, when did you first meet Allison Grodner? Did you meet her? Have you known her before? What is your affiliation with Big Brother? And do you know like Mike Boogie? That also came into it, that you might have been affiliated with Mike Boogie somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, Allison Grodner is my mother. So,
I knew it.
Yeah, no, she's actually my lover. And I first met Allison Grodner at the finals of the Big Brother casting. I wish that it was rigged for me. I'd be $500,000 richer. Yep. And to be honest with you, I wish more that I knew Allison Grodner before the whole process started. It wouldn't have been such a long process to get on the show. So, no, I did not know Allison Grodner. Mike Boogie is interesting. We don't know each other. But I did live in LA for a while and interviewed to work at a club that he used to own, Ledoux. So I interviewed with him about 10 years ago, probably less than that. I didn't even know that he was on the show at any point. And we literally had like a 10-minute interview. I didn't get the fucking job. So no, me and Mike.
You met with Lonnie.
I did meet with Lonnie.
Okay, yeah, my sisters know Lonnie. That's funny.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, Colette. You didn't tell us that.
At the rap party, I saw Boogie, and I told him about that one time I interviewed, and Boogie was so fucking wasted. He was rapping. He like couldn't stand up straight. He's like, "You are my favorite player," and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay. And then later on, people are like, "Oh, Boogie was trashing you the whole time." So it's really funny how people will trash you, and then to your face, they'll kiss your ass. So
we're doing that right now, by the way, according to a lot of people.
Okay, so let's actually move on a little bit to, okay, you're in the house. Now, before the live feeds turned on, you guys had already been living in the house for about 4 days. But the live feeds turned on for us, and immediately we kind of try to put the pieces together. We try to figure out who's with whom, who's, aligned with whoever, who's not liked, who's loved, etc. So, but it became immediately apparent in literally like 10 minutes that there was some sort of tension between Candace, maybe Aaron, maybe Alyssa, and I think the fight might have been, and that maybe a fight or a couple of arguments took place in those first 4 or 5 days, and it might have been about Rachel. Can you tell us what went on in the house those early days and how it influenced any decisions that you made after it happened?
Absolutely. For some odd reason, Alyssa, I think it was the first day, and they didn't show this either. I don't know if this is on the live feeds. Alyssa went up to Aaron and basically said, I think she meant to say, "You're probably going to get MVP" to Aaron, but she said, "You're going to be America's favorite," or something along the lines of making Aaron a little bit of a target day one. So it definitely caused a lot of tension between Alyssa and Aaron. I think Alyssa's objective was to get the focus off of her being Rachel's sister, and that's what started their tension. No, the racism stuff really didn't start until I think the flipping of the mattress or around that time. To be honest with you, I was never involved in the racist stuff. So the first I had heard about it was that I was included in it was when I got out of the house.
So real quick, Amanda, that's getting down the road a little bit. So when the show started, you said it wasn't shown on the feeds. So the feeds for us, you guys were told when the feeds were going live when the show started.
Yeah.
Anything before that you can't see. We can't go back and watch. We really can't. So
Okay.
so we don't know what went on at the beginning. But one oh crap. Go ahead and if you have something to add to that, I'm trying to think of something else.
So
I was gonna
that's
ask.
what happened. Alyssa tried to accuse Aaron of like literally day one that Aaron was going to get MVP or Aaron was America's favorite or something along those lines, or Amanda she was going to be I'm sorry, not America's favorite, America's player.
Right.
Alyssa
Yeah. Oh, okay.
basically was telling everyone that Aaron was going to be America's player, trying to sabotage Aaron, and this happened before the feeds came on, and yeah, it definitely caused tension.
So much for the Girls Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's no fucking way that included me ever.
So we, you've watched some of the shows already now, and you've watched the premiere. Of course, it's unclear to us. That's one of the things that we like to talk about on this show because we watch the live feeds religiously, and so we like to say, well, this is when this really happened. This is when this happened. But that's where we're kind of at a loss in these early days. We can only go by what we saw on the show. How long did it take? What was the first? They show that Candace was the first. At least the editing makes it show that Candace is the first one that suspected Alyssa was Rachel's sister. How long after you guys walked into the house was that being discussed? Because on the show it seemed to last the first a couple of days before anyone guessed it, but we figured it happened almost right away.
It definitely lasted a couple of days. I had no
Really?
idea. There was one point, and again, I'm not sure if the live feeds were on at this point. We were all up in the HOH room talking shit about Rachel, just like saying, and Brendan right in front of her. And I was talking about, the whole sex scandal that was going on with Brendan and how his dick all over the internet and stuff like that. Like,
Oh, yes.
talking about like for a good amount of time, and everyone in the room knew that she was Rachel's sister but me, because in the very beginning of the show, me and Alyssa were very close. That's I don't know if anyone could see that either.
Why?
Alyssa, it was weird. Day one, she came up to me and she's like, I want to be in an alliance with you. We'll call it the Brunette Barbies or something.
That one didn't make the show. Yeah.
Wow.
No, it didn't make the show. Well, because it was never real for me. But she wanted to make an alliance and blah, blah, blah. But very quickly I realized that there was something missing there with her. But in the beginning, I was there with Alyssa. Like, I was pretty close with her before I really got to know her. And so people didn't tell me that she was Rachel's sister. And I'm such an idiot for not seeing that earlier. What an idiot.
Oh well. So when you went into the house, and I was going to run back and look at the clips to kind of see the pre-show interviews, but you had this mindset, I'm sure, going into the show of what you were going to do or how you were going to act, and of course you walked in the door, and things must have changed to a certain extent because fairly rapidly you kind of got together with McCrae.
Yeah.
Did your predetermined thoughts of how you were going to act change as soon as you got in, or what was your mindset going in there? How did it all change?
100%. I was gonna go in there, and I told the castmates that I was in a relationship because I have big boobs, I'm a pretty girl, and I'm a strong girl, and I feel like girls would be less threatened by me if I told them that I was in a relationship with somebody. So that was my first thing that I did, and then I was going to be my plan was to float by for a little bit, not float, but to keep the waters calm, and that definitely did not happen.
So by going in and telling them you were in a relationship, that kind of makes a little bit more sense to us, as far as, because you were the subject of discussion, because you were with McCrae, that you were going to be in a relationship. That kind of makes a little bit more sense to us, as far as, because you were the subject of discussion, 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 because you were the subject you were seen as cheating on this relationship that you were in.
Right.
Is that so? That makes a little more sense to us.
I was dating somebody for about like 2 months before I came onto the show. It was nothing really that serious, and I just used that to my benefit when I first came in the house because I didn't want to seem threatening to anybody.
Sure. So the biggest thing one of the big things this season that we liked and hated at the same time was this MVP twist. And of course, and whether you know or not, you probably know by now, the MVP stood for most valuable player or whatever. We were told as viewers before the show even started, here's the cast, vote for the player that you think is playing the best game. And so we all knew, the three of us knew going into it, Alyssa has his hands down. And of course, you guys figured it out pretty quickly too on the inside. What were your guys? I mean, we know what your thoughts about the MVP, I guess. I mean, I just kind of wanted to let you know that as viewers.
Before I even knew that Alyssa was Rachel's sister, I'm a strategist. I tried to find loopholes around pretty much. I tried every competition and every expect the unexpected. I really tried to figure it out. So beforehand, I was like, there must be a way around this third MVP nominee. There must be a way. And then finally, when we all figured out that Alyssa was going to be getting it every week, the thing that they didn't show as well is they made it show that it was Spencer's idea to use Alyssa.
No, we know. We know as those of us that were watching the feeds, we actually gave you tons of credit. We gave you and Helen credit and said that McCrae and Amanda and Helen know that the way that they can get far is to keep Alyssa in their pocket because she's controlling at least one nomination every week, and it's better to have her on her side. So we all got that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We gave you lots of credit. The TV edit was totally
was wrong.
Different.
It was wrong because the funny thing is what they showed when we were having that conversation with Spencer, me, and Judd, and how Spencer was saying, maybe we should keep Alyssa for yada, yada, yada. I, right beforehand, purposely went to him and basically was baiting him to say that. You know what I mean? And that wasn't shown. But whatever. Spencer could use a little positivity, so I'll give it to him.
So one other little quick question, kind of about the MVP. So as you know now, the first 3 weeks, the Alyssa was the predestined, and then the fourth week they decided to switch it up, and thankfully some of Alyssa's fans didn't get it and continued to vote for.
Can we tell her what we did? Can we?
So the fourth after the three votings that it was apparent that it was going to be Alyssa every time, and we were, and a lot of people were ranting and raving about it. On the fourth MVP vote, they said no, it's going to be America's choice, and so both Colette and myself and Scott and
vote
everybody
for Alyssa. Vote for Alyssa.
We said, well, you got to vote for Alyssa for MVP.
She deserves it. She's so great. We love her. And so her stupid fans did pay attention, and her fans on the West Coast.
We made a mistake.
Oh, and her fans on the West Coast. That's why she was nominated, because we totally tricked them.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Now, as it happened, I think you were nominated that next week, or no, Aaron was nominated. By that point, Aaron had become the subject of quite a lot of hate online because of some of the things that happened. So she would have been the nominee, but she was head of household, so she couldn't be. So then it fell to the next person. But one other real quick question about the MVP. After all that went on, when you started getting nominated, you were convinced that it was Judd doing all of this. And
I was convinced it was Judd until the jury house.
I know. Why? What convinced me?
You know what? Again, I was John Nashing, and I'll tell you why. Because everything that you do in that house, this is why you go a little crazy. If somebody hands you a water bottle, they can simply be handing you a water bottle, but then you think in your head, did they just hand that to me because people want to think that we're together, or do they want me to make it look like, you know what I mean? Like people overthink. So I definitely overthought that. I thought that Judd was MVP because he started to act really sketchy and weird. He had just lied about the whole Caitlyn thing when he was in solitary confinement, and he said that Caitlyn said she wanted Helen out because I guess he wanted to keep Aaron. So in my head, I was thinking that the first week, Judd put up Alyssa because he wanted Alyssa gone. Because honestly, although everyone's kissing her ass now, no one liked Alyssa in the house. Helen did, but even at times, Helen didn't like Alyssa. And then as a replacement nominee, I figured Judd put up Gina Marie because he knew Gina Marie was going to be a vote to keep Caitlyn, and he wanted Caitlyn gone. So that's why I figured that. Then when he was HOH, he went up to the HOH room and he was like, "Thank you, America. Thank you, Dingo. Thank you, blah, blah, blah." And he was shouting out all these thank yous. And I'm like, why is he shouting out all these thank yous? Like, what is he being thankful for? Then he said something like when he was in solitary confinement that when he mentions any, does any shout outs that they cut to the fish. So I went to production and I went in there. I go, do you cut to fish when we give shout outs and stuff? And they said no. So all of these things were happening that didn't make sense. He was being super shady and, poor thing. He was being loyal, but he was just, to be honest with you, I can't regret getting him out because he had control over Aaron more so than I did. He had control over Jesse more so than I did. So I wasn't really sure. I wasn't able to read Judd very well. And with him in the house,
nobody could.
With people in the house, respecting him and he has control over them, it was hurting my game, although he wasn't directly hurting me. I knew in the long run it would hurt me.
Well, that's a very detailed explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's a
No. That's what we want. Trust me. We're not complaining. We don't have we're not running the clock on this at all.
That was like my biggest problem in the diary room when they'd be like, "Amanda, so describe to us what you were thinking at this point." It would be like a 45-minute answer. They'd be like, "Can you put that in one sentence?"
Well, that's all right. I'm done. I do the gift of. I've got the gift of gab too. So Scott moves us along.
Speaking of people that are hard to understand, I think Colette wants to bring up a certain other person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who are you talking about?
Real quick, before Colette starts talking, Amanda, we kind of have a reputation as not caring for Alyssa, but I want to say that a lot of our not caring for it was because we really didn't want we wanted an entirely new cast, and as far as we were concerned, Alyssa was what Scott has called a stunt cast, and so it totally threw a mix into it. So I didn't mean to I just want to at least lay that groundwork. So we went into it not really caring for her.
Yeah. Well, Alyssa honestly had no business being on the show in the first place. She doesn't speak well, as you can tell, in any of her. That's why they stopped asking her questions on the live show, because you asked her a question and she's like, she'd be like, "Alyssa, what was your best game move?" She'd be like, "Microwave." It didn't make any sense. But listen, it was, she got the unfair advantage of being Rachel's sister. She has 1 million Brenchel fans because of that, and whatever.
Okay, so
deep breath, Colette.
Let's talk about. Oh my God, I just did a mic sigh. Okay, so let's talk about Alyssa. Amanda, can you confirm that Alyssa is completely insane?
You're gonna get me in trouble. Alyssa is very unique. Let's leave it at that.
Okay, so early on in the game, and it was so strange because it seemed like all of a sudden for us as viewers that you went out of your way to try to save Alyssa, even though it was super apparent that everyone in the house couldn't stand her.
Yes.
What I want to know is, did the diary room / production nudge you at all in that direction? Did they tell you, hey, maybe it's a good idea for you to team up with Alyssa? Was there any sort of influence from the diary room? Because as viewers, it seemed kind of all of a sudden for somebody that you couldn't stand, all of a sudden you're like, hey, I want to save her. I want to work with her. Let's make this happen.
Not at all. They're actually really good at that stuff. They really try to keep us in the dark with everything, and they didn't nudge me at all. I was just thinking to myself, if part of Bieber Fever gets power, we need that last nomination. So, no, it was strictly, it was just strategy for me to keep her here and to suck up to her because she wasn't going after me for a long time. She really wasn't going after me until I got Helen out of the house. As far as I knew, I still haven't gotten that far in the show, so I don't really know. But yeah, it just worked for me personally in my game. And I figured me and McCrae are in a relationship. Eventually, people are going to start putting us up on the block together. And as long as I can control that third vote, or that third nomination, then we should be fine.
Okay. So I have some more questions about the diary room. Now, speaking of the diary room, whenever Alyssa would get upset, and I don't know if you've seen, I think you've witnessed some of this, but on the feeds, we saw a lot of this. Whenever Alyssa would get upset or feel unloved or have maybe a couple sips of wine, she would bring up production.
Yep.
And every time she would do this, the feeds would shut down and we would get fish. We couldn't hear what she was saying. But then the feeds would come back and sometimes, we'd hear, she's mentioning people's names in production or their wives or their families.
Yep.
Friends,
that one day
their
for McCrae's,
pets.
they didn't show this at all. For McCrae's birthday,
Yes.
she was vicious that night.
We know.
That's exactly what I'm leading up to. Okay, hold on a second. So, yeah, McCrae's birthday party, because I went back, I reread my blogs from the whole season, and the next day, you approached her and you were like, she was denying getting because you was like, I think, alcohol played a part in the way you were acting. And she goes, no, I didn't drink that much. And you said you were flicking off the camera and calling out production. Yep. That's what we want to know. That's what I'm asking.
She was saying, she was calling out every single producer. Like, she was like, fuck you, Matt, fuck you. Then she was saying fuck you, and she never says fuck you. And she was saying, but I like your wife because she does yoga. So, she had an in with these producers. Wow. She knew them all individually. And it really pissed everyone off, to be honest with you. We're like, well, what, they kept, saying to her, when Alyssa drinks, her favorite topic was production.
Yes, yes.
That's all she would talk about. Everybody knew it, and she also never ever admitted that she was drunk. But she definitely loved to drink. She would have more alcohol than everyone else in the house. As soon as the wine came out, she was there with a cup of wine. So I mean,
Okay, we get. Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
we liked the One Piece by the way, Amanda. We didn't have a problem with it. We thought she was.
Did you see? That's the whole thing too. The whole time she's very passive aggressive. She keep poking me, and nudging me, and even at times I'd have to be like, all right, I'm going to take that as a compliment. Your insults I'm just going to take as a compliment.
We played
that night.
We played
was
you saying
insane
that
as a whole.
We
That
played
night
you saying that on this show.
You don't understand how often in the house she would make these passive aggressive comments, and just but she got away with it because she has such a big fan base, which whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm not a fighter. Any of my friends could tell you I'm not a fighter, but listen, I'm not gonna let somebody push me around and stop, you know what I mean, and just say these nasty things. She did the same thing in Jury House.
Well, okay, we'll get to that. But that night, I was leading up to that McCrae's birthday. That was sort of a pivotal night for both you and people watching the feeds because, we're watching it. Everybody's laughing. They're whooping it up, and you're like, "Someone's been a bad boy." And everybody on the feeds were like, "Oh my God, this is hysterical. This is amazing." And McCrae's got this huge grin on his face. He's loving every second of it. You're spanking him, right? And it's all done, and it ends. And then you got Alyssa sitting there drooling in her glass of wine, like, "Oh my God." So
I think she wasn't the center of attention.
Exactly.
In the beginning, she was very Rachel-esque. She dropped it towards the end, but she tried so hard to be like Rachel. And the fact that she wasn't the center of attention, I think it really bothered her. And it was weird because at that point, we were cool. And so I didn't know why she kept attacking. There was really no reason other than she was jealous of the attention that McCrae and I were getting, and she wasn't getting any. So she started to get drunk and talk shit.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed very out of the blue because I think before that was when like all you girls decided to kind of tease the boys in the backyard with the Band-Aids, and even like Aaron, and everybody was doing little dances, and Spencer was dancing. He was all excited. He's like, "Hey, girls are being sexy," and that's kind of the vibe that was going on that night in the room. Everybody was super happy, and then Alyssa delivers this, word diarrhea, and you said, okay, I'm going to go downstairs and check something, and so you went, and this is why it's a pivotal night, because it was kind of the first night that we saw you lose it, to be honest. You went into the bathroom and you broke down and you started to cry. Yeah. And then this became a thing where it kind of bled out. Aaron and I think it was Caitlin came, and Gina Marie, I think, came down to console you and find out what was going on. And then the next day, we're all like, okay, what's going to happen? Because everyone's talking about it. Helen had her 8 p.m. curfew, and she's like, I'm so glad I missed it. My husband wouldn't want me to be a part of that. It was so stupid. It was such a fun-loving moment. And I even tweeted about it. I was like, this is the first time where everybody's having the best time in the house. Everyone's so happy. But this stupid bitch Alyssa is going to ruin it. So you're crying. And then the next day, we're all kind of waiting for you to wake up, which, by the way, honey, you slept too much. I love you, but you slept way too much in the house. So you finally woke up.
I bet you guys went to sleep before I went to sleep.
Yes. Yes.
So you finally wake up, and we're like, okay, this is going to come to a head, because everybody's talking about it in the house. Everybody's, telling Alyssa, hey, you pissed off Amanda. She cried. You hurt her feelings. So we finally get it. You both are sitting in the backyard, and we're like, okay, what's going to happen? And what happened was you ended up apologizing to her.
Yep. And it killed me.
It's complete insanity,
because
this isn't the only time it happened. It happened like 12 more times with other people. But I need to ask you, why? I have to ask you why.
It was every time. Well, first of all, Alyssa never, ever, ever apologizes or owns up to when she does something wrong. Never. She doesn't see what she does as being wrong, which is what the psychologist on the show basically was telling me what a definition of a passive aggressive person is. And since she never really outwardly gets mad, her way of being aggressive is so slick and sly that she doesn't really understand that she's saying hurtful things. So at that point, I still needed Alyssa. I didn't want to make another enemy, and it really killed me. But somehow I ended up apologizing to her for her nasty comments. And every time I had to do that, it really killed me. It got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, there was one moment, and I'm sure you remember this. You guys were all sitting in the backyard, and you're talking about Howard and religion, and how he uses religion in the game. And Alyssa was very loud, and she's like, I don't like that he uses his Bible or whatever. And then Andy turns to her and is like, you know what, you might want to keep your voice down, because Gina Marie was in the backyard, and Caitlin, I think, was back there, and he was a little worried that people were going to hear her trashing Howard. And she goes, oh my God, I can't believe you would insult my ministry and my Christianity, my religion. And then there was this scene where you're in the shower in the HOH room, plucking your bikini line, and Alyssa is sitting across from you being, just ranting about how rude Andy is, and can't believe he would say this. And again, I couldn't believe you didn't stab the bitch in the eye with your tweet. Like, I'm watching this.
It really is a lost cause. It's like talking to a brick wall. If you try to tell Alyssa, you cannot communicate with that person. Because if you try to tell Alyssa, or try to make her see, that's not what happened, it doesn't matter. Like, in her head, she saw that Andy, and it was McCrae too. She thought McCrae was making fun of her too, which didn't happen. But in her head, she thought that, and there was no stopping it. There was no changing it. And it's better to have numbers than to have an enemy just because you want to try to change her mind. There was no changing her mind, ever.
I'm going to tell you, you are a very passionate, emotional person. You feel something, you speak about it. I'm kind of the same way. And and I'm going to, and I know people are going to think I'm kissing up to you a little bit, but I was super impressed, because I know if I was face to face with Alyssa and she was giving me this bullshit, I would have gone off. So, good, good on you. Good game move. I'm impressed you kind of kept it in, and you would just kind of you would just stare at her. You wouldn't say anything, and you nod and be like, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, I mean,
I had to do that a lot, to be honest.
Oh, we know.
I mean, towards the end, I really didn't give a shit anymore. But like,
yeah. And bless you.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I unzipped the lips towards the end.
All right. So, okay, let's move on a little bit. And now, as I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of controversy over, possibly offensive jokes and comments made in the house, and but you were one of the first people to actually address it. So I don't know if you know this yet. I don't know. I mean, I know you know about the controversy outside the house, but I don't know if you know about the timeline. So people said certain things, and then the viewers blew up, and it became a social thing. TMZ's talking about it. Entertainment Weekly's talking about it. It became literally a social media phenomenon. And then kind of, Erin becomes HOH. And you went up to her one day. She's lying in her bed. I think she had taken a nap. And you took it upon yourself to confront her about, hey, maybe you've made some questionable comments. Maybe, you've said things about the fish being segregated. You might want to be mindful of this. So a lot of people watching had a question. And I know you said this later in the bed flipping incident. You said that the diary room kept saying or questioning you, mentioning racist things.
You could tell it. She said you could tell it's being.
Yeah.
This is making the error because it's by the questions we're being asked in the diary room.
Yeah. So when you first confronted Erin, did anybody prompt you to do that, or did you do that on your own?
I did that on my own. Everyone was downstairs talking about it outside, and I was like, maybe she doesn't know. Like I'm the person who, if people talk about it behind their backs, I want them to know. I will tell them to their faces. So, I didn't think that Erin was doing anything consciously. I think that that's just the way that she unfortunately spoke. So no one prompted me. I just went up there and I wanted to let her know that things that she's saying is hurtful to people, and that, she should be aware of it, which, I'll just leave it at that.
She wasn't.
Right. Okay.
So then, she was oblivious.
Okay, but then again, like and I went through all my blogs before this to kind of construct a timeline, and it was literally 2 days afterwards was the bed flip fight. And you made a comment, and I love it. You came down and you had a glass of wine in your hand, and you got so pissed at everybody for picking on Jesse. And you made a comment that, and Erin's, you made a comment that the diary room kept asking not only you, but everybody about these controversial remarks that Erin may have made. And Erin questioned you, well, how do you know this? And you go, because they've been asking everybody. We've all been asked. So I want to know, what were they asking you? What were they telling you? What were they suggesting in the diary room that made you think this, talk about it? And like you said just a second ago, everybody was in the backyard talking about it. What did they say in the diary room to you?
Well, to me, they didn't start talking about it until after I went to Erin and went upstairs to her and, was letting her know that people are being offended by the things that you're saying. Then afterwards, they were just like, they basically have you talk about, tell us about your conversation, and how do you think Erin took it? And what do you think, they weren't making me talk about the racism. They were asking me about a conversation that we had already had, and then my stance on it.
Okay.
But you got a sense that because they were asking about those specific conversations, that seemed to be an important conversation. Or,
oh yeah.
I mean, I get that's just always been my feeling that and I'm not knocking him for it, but the diary room can kind of direct you to think about specific incidences more than others based on what they ask you about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we read into things way too much. So.
Oh, like Judd, you mean? Yeah, we know.
Poor Judd.
All right. Well, now finally I get to ask a couple questions.
Oh, you're doing.
I am here, by the way.
We got more questions after you. What are you talking about?
Okay. By the way, I just got tweeted something that Alyssa said to Entertainment Tonight. No. The question to her was, any chance you'll speak with Amanda or Erin after this?
What'd you say?
Yeah, I'd hate to transcribe her interviews. The reply was neither. I would never. Not in a million years.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Shocking.
Yeah,
but there is no desire on this end either. So
feelings are mutual.
The feelings are mutual.
Okay. I want to talk about your relationships with a couple of men in the house. One good, one bad, and
bad.
the first one is my first one is about McCrae. And
Panda, yeah.
I just want to know I just want to know, what was it about him that he was able to earn a ticket to SeaWorld?
Oh.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. In the very first day, he was very standoffish to everyone, and that sort of intrigued me. And then I didn't want to sleep in a bed with Gina Marie anymore. I was sleeping with her for the first 2 nights. And I go upstairs, and I would make like the worst, most inappropriate jokes, and McCrae would be the only one to like really laugh at them. And so I instantly saw him understand me. Like, he just got me, and he thought I was funny. And so we just hit it off from like a friend basis very quickly. During the photo shoot, we were always like next to each other. So I'll tell you exactly what happened when I was like, oh my God, I like this guy. I think it was the 3rd night in, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I didn't know where I was. Like, I was just completely like panic stricken. I was like, oh my God. But as I woke up, I put my hands down and I touched McCrae's arm, and then everything kind of like shot back into my brain, like where I was. And I suddenly just like felt safe, and I felt safe next to him. And, ever since then, we just kind of were inseparable.
Well, the follow-up question to that is, because you guys did brag about a few things.
I think she bragged.
Is there any room that didn't become a SeaWorld attraction?
Do you mean, do we have anal?
No. Well, if you want to answer that, you can.
Oh, you're talking about a room in the HOH room. Yeah. I like how I just say that. So like, oh, anal? No, we did not have anal. In the have not room, we did not have sex.
Okay. That's understandable.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to a person that you didn't have a SeaWorld attraction to. and that would be Howard. And I'm going to play a clip here of a discussion that the two of you had. It's not the only time that this has been brought up. I want to know if his allegation about McCrae is what changed your opinion of him.
Like, I'm not going to say nothing else.
Because if we're going to clear the air and be real, let's be real.
Okay, cool.
Do you think he would have been in your lines?
You have been up here with the boyfriend. You said that you weren't sleeping in bed with him if he hadn't been the first HOH.
Yes.
So you'd have slept with him wherever. You'd have been with him no matter what.
I'm still sleeping in bed with him, aren't I?
Yeah, because it started that way. And you can build on that. I know you're smart,
I don't know what tactic you're heading at right now, but it's not going to help.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Me saying that you adding him into your alliance because he was the first HOH, that's all game talk. You saying that me coming up here sleeping in bed with him is personal.
Okay, but you just no, I didn't. I didn't think it was personal.
Oh my God! Am I on an alternate planet right now?
Yeah. So when Howard said those things, was that kind of the beginning of the breakdown of any kind?
Howard hit on me those first couple of days. I'm going to be quite honest with you.
Wait, tell us about that.
On that. I need to know more.
This is the first time I'm actually like, Howard and I had like a nice conversation one of the first days, and then he was very jealous of the fact that me and McCrae were sleeping in the same bed together. McCrae would tell you the same thing. He made a lot of like, why are you sleeping in the same bed as McCrae? And just a lot of comments like that. And then once we were sitting, I think it was the second day we were in the house, we were sitting on the couch, and he was like caressing my foot or something weird like that. And I felt like uncomfortable because at that point, like, I didn't see Howard like that. I just saw him as a friend. And he was not happy that I had chosen McCrae over him, to be honest with you.
Interesting, because that
explains a lot too.
That leads us to this other incident. This is 2 days before Howard was evicted. And we didn't get to hear it all on the feeds.
And this has been a big bone of contention with a lot of people.
Yes. Howard, the camera switched into the kitchen. We saw the tail end of a conversation.
Thank you.
Now, afterwards, you told Andy and
Judd.
Yep. That Howard basically hit on you and said, "I want to fuck the shit out of you after the season's over." Is that what happened?
100%. I swear to God, on my family, on everything in the world, that is what he said. 100%. And couldn't make that up that fast. To be honest with you, right after they asked me about it, and I said, I was completely thrown off guard because this had happened just after Spencer was taken to Candyland, and I just basically called out Howard in front of everyone, and then Howard walks up to me in this really weird way, and he looks at me like really funny. It was super scary, and I thought he was going to say something like scary, something like "I fucking hate you" or something like that. But instead, when he said, "I want to fuck the shit out of you when we get off the show," and then he stepped back and said something like, "Yeah, because you're so fine," or "You're so sexy," or said something weird like that afterwards. I was so uncomfortable. That was an uncomfortable laugh at that point. I was completely freaked out. And following that, I went outside, told McCrae, and then was in the diary room it had to have been over an hour, just sitting in there talking to producers, talking to Sean, because at that point I felt unsafe.
Okay, this is what I want to address really quick. I mean, this was actually a huge controversy that I'm sure you have no idea about, or maybe you know a little bit about. We did a very lengthy show about it because people were like, "Oh my God, she's lying. How would you never say that?" And then and Scott's going to play some clips, in a second. But I was very good friends with your dad. People that listen to the show know about this, and actually, he had told me, he DM'd me, when people were questioning this. He said, yes, Howard did say this to her. A producer called me and they told me that they have it under control. And I'm just going to tell you that every time after this where it came up in conversation, and even when later there was a confrontation with Candace and you're like, you don't even know what Howard said to me. Howard said, boom, fish theme song. Every time after that, and your dad had told me, he said, production assured me they're going to take care of it. Production's way of taking care of it was basically they never addressed it again, and anytime it came up, they went to fish, so we never saw it. So it almost exasperated this controversy, like, who are they protecting? Are they protecting Amanda, or are they protecting Howard?
Yeah, it was really a hard thing to deal with, because at that point I was in the diary room and I felt like Howard would find out that that's what I was doing in the diary room. So then I felt unsafe that he knew that I was telling production what he had just said to me. And it was never my intention to ever tell Candace what Howard had said to me. I didn't think it would work for my favor in any way. There's no gameplay behind that for me to make that up. I'm a smart player and I don't make stupid game moves like that. Like, it didn't make sense for me to make up. It wouldn't make sense.
But do you understand that? I mean, you don't know now, but I mean, Scott has these clips to play. Our decision, and you kind of said it at the beginning, right after that happened, when you were telling Judd and Andy what he just said, you said, "Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't make a big deal out of it," because we interpreted that to mean you thought that's what Howard wants. Howard wants you to make a big deal of it, and that was our interpretation too. And Scott's got a couple other clips here.
Thanks for stealing that.
What's that?
Thanks for stealing what I was just going to say.
Go ahead, Scott. Take over from me. Go ahead.
No, I think it was the last-ditch effort of gameplay from Howard. He knew he was going. He was hoping that he would create a big reaction from you, which he would then deny, and that's why we have this clip. This is at 3 a.m. the next morning. Howard is asking Candace if she had heard anything from you.
Why you want me to step up to you that your friend and you're always talking about me and making up lies about me?
What did she say? She said something?
No. In general.
And I always defend you. I defended you in front of her that day when you walked out, so. I never let anybody say anything bad about you.
Ugh, boo.
Boo.
So Amanda, do you think that this was a last ditch gameplay effort?
Yeah, but I think that you're thinking his gameplay was better than it was. I think instead, I'm thinking.
Well, we were giving him credit.
I know, but I think instead of him trying to make me have like a big rise out of things, I think maybe he's so simple to the point where he was trying to get me to like him, and get me to be like, oh, I'm gonna vote to keep him. Because he knew I had power in the house. So for him to be like, you're so sexy, you're so fine or whatever, after that comment, I think that was a last-ditch effort to have me keep him. Because just the night before, he was upstairs, like, rubbing my feet or something in the HOH room when Candace was about to walk in. I was like, you should stop that because Candace is about to walk in the room.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Definitely, and I think McCrae might have been the only one who was really privy to this, but Howard definitely had a little bit of a crush on me or something in the beginning. He found me attractive, and I think the fact that I ended up with McCrae bothered him.
Boobs.
Well, he definitely wanted you.
Boobs.
He definitely saw you as a threat to the move. Well, the way we saw it was he saw you as a threat to the moving company, and that's why he was so hot to get. He wanted you gone because he thought you were a distraction. You were a distraction to McCrae. That's how we got to see it.
But now think about it. He could have been jealous, and that's why he was so targeting Amanda, because he's like, okay, if I can't have this bitch, I want her gone. Like, that could have been what he was saying.
Like, he wanted me to sleep in the same bed with him. Like, he was very, I think Howard's an attractive guy, but he's just not my type. And I was, hanging out with McCrae, and it just, I wasn't interested, and I think that hurt his ego.
Well, just so you know, Howard has not addressed this, and I don't think he will address this whole incident.
Well, afterwards he denied it.
One of the sites asked him about it, and he denied it.
I'm so upset that you couldn't hear it on the live feed.
Well, actually, I'm going to tell you, we did a big show about this. We talked about it for a long time, and we actually got a clip, and I don't think we have it prepared right now, but our listeners know this. We actually found a clip where Howard is talking to somebody else, and he actually says the phrase, fuck the shit out of.
Yeah, yes, it was. He and his buddies get together, and they say.
He was telling Candace, I think. He says, me and my brothers get together, and we fuck the shit out of. And Candace was like, oh, you're so bad or whatever. And so it was very strange how you said the exact same phrasing that he actually used in a private conversation later. So we actually used that to prove that you weren't lying.
There's nothing that I can say for people to I could just say it was the truth. There was no, why would I lie about that? There's no point.
Right. Yeah. It seems super weird.
It was really weird. It was very odd. The timing was really odd that he came up to me. For him to even talk to me in the kitchen was really weird. What is he saying that he said? When people ask,
he just said he was just nice things. I can't remember. It was
what he said was, I just told her that I thought she was a cool woman. I'd like to hang out with her afterwards.
Yeah. Why would he whisper that in my ear then?
Exactly.
There's no answer.
And then later, when it became like a thing, people, and I don't know if it was Candace or Alyssa was asking about it, and Andy and Judd had kind of seen it, and Andy says, and I know we've also played this on our show, and Andy says, you know what? I was in the kitchen, and I saw something really weird happen. He goes, I didn't hear it, but I saw their body language, and it was awkward. Something happened. Yeah, but again, I wish somebody got it on tape or somebody had heard it, but we didn't.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, it's so, because he knew it too. He whispered it so close to my ear, and the first time I couldn't really. He whispered it twice in my ear because I was like, "What?" I had to say what because I couldn't. And then again, loud and clear, he said that, and it's so annoying that he's lying about that, and it's so annoying that people would think that I would lie about that. Why would I lie about that? It doesn't make sense.
Especially women. I hate it that women are so quick to be like, "Oh, she's lying."
Why?
He's right. Why wouldn't they be like, okay, maybe somebody's hot for this chick and she's gorgeous, she's good looking. Why can't they maybe believe that this guy likes her? It really bugs me. I don't know.
Listen, there's nothing that I can say because you guys couldn't hear it, which is so annoying. but it was the truth. He did say that. There's no way I would even think that quickly for him to come up to me, whisper something in my ear, and that quickly turn around and tell Judd and Andy what had just happened and tell them not to like really make a big deal out of it. If I wanted to stir something up and lie, then I would tell them to make a big deal out of it. I went in the diary room for over an hour, 2 hours talking to producers and stuff because I felt unsafe. It made me feel unsafe in the house.
And also, up until this point, we're kind of familiar with your gameplay. Your gameplay has never been, let me make an outrageous lie about somebody else. That was kind of what Spencer did. It was never your MO. You were just kind of like, what?
Sorry, go ahead. No.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's why it seems so strange and so out of the ordinary. If you had been lying about people you didn't like or making up shit out of the blue all along, we'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, Amanda's making it up. She's lying. But that's why it seems so weird because it's not your MO. It's not how you had been playing the game up until then. And that's why I think that me and, other fans of yours were more likely to believe you just because it wasn't in your wheelhouse. You had never played that way before. You had never made up something outrageous to malign somebody else. At least up until then, you hadn't done that.
It was very weird. It was weird to be in that house. I felt very uncomfortable. I was crying in the diary room for a while because I did not know what to do. I thought at a point that they may, because of how threatening he looked when he was coming up to me and whatever, like I thought that production would have been able to do something about it. But, Sean, the producer was saying, maybe he was just saying that because he actually likes you or whatever. Like they were trying to console me and make me feel more comfortable, having to deal with it.
Well, we really, you've put a totally different spin on it from what we took. Our whole stance all along was that it was a game move by Howard, and you kind of said it might have been, but we don't want to paint Howard in a negative light. So I don't think he was, and I don't think you, in retrospect, think he was being aggressive. It was just it kind of threw you off though when he said it.
It threw me off. It just made me really weirded out because it was so out of nowhere. And because we hadn't been talking for a while before that, so it was just very weird.
I think it was a move on his part to try to save himself in some fashion. It failed, obviously, but that was a move that he was trying to make. So going on from that, it's my turn now in the round of getting to ask you things. As you heard the beginning of the show, if you noticed, which is kind of interesting, Scott made up that montage of clips about 3 or 4 weeks into the show. And, of course, by that time, we'd already noticed that Andy had this uncanny habit of popping in everywhere. No matter what was going on, with it, if it got really interesting, suddenly the door would open or Andy would walk around the corner and go, hey guys, what's going on?
Hey guys.
We kind of made fun of that. Did you have that, Scott, or?
He made fun of. Oh, you're playing the clip.
We're gonna play a clip. Then you can talk about it. Yeah, if Scott has it. Yeah.
Hey everyone! Wow, I didn't know so many people were in here.
What a comfortable night. I love this temperature. Did you put that little heart on your
you guys want to hear about the one time that I
just very...
I remember I had like a pet lizard, and it was just like one of those little teeny ones, and it bit my finger, and I grabbed it to try to pull it off, and I just ripped its tail off by accident.
I forgot Candace trouble, I forgot I wonder if it's going to get hard. I forgot Candace gets POV.
I swear he is everywhere. I don't know how he walks so fast. That kid's like Pablo's a weasel.
Judd is so right. He would just pop into any room. There could be 5 different conversations going on, and he somehow would interrupt them all, and then talk about nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because he made fun of himself for that. He's like, I really think America thinks that that's my strategy to just pop into rooms on people when they're talking, which. I mean, it kind of worked out for me, to be honest with you, because it let him look annoying in the beginning and pop into people's rooms because he always reported back to me. So it worked for me.
Well, it certainly drove us crazy to a certain extent, but in another extent, obviously, it worked well for him in the game. Another little thing that started to drive us crazy collectively was Helen and her, and we would, Helen was almost like the cruise director on the Love Boat, that she always seemed to want to have an activity going on. Did it ever start to drive you a little bit crazy that she was so positive, so up, so... Did you ever want to... And this is a quote that actually trended for a short time on Twitter. Just tell her to shut the fuck up, Helen.
In a house full of negativity, it's not bad having one person who's always a little bit of a ray of sunshine. But, I can't say that it was a bad day when I heard Helen was starting to gun after me, because then I could actually shut Helen the fuck up and get her out of the house.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, this is, I had, and we all did, this season was very strange, because it talked about the season of floaters and everything, and I had, several of us had tried to come up with it was so weird, because usually with you had two distinct powers in the house that were working against each other constantly. But at least in this season, my analysis, and other people's too, was that you and McCrae were kind of one very strong power, and you were really the head of that, with McCrae kind of letting you do all the dirty work. And then Helen was kind of the other. And you were kind of like the two centers of power in the house. And we kept waiting for, when are these two going to go at each other? Because you were just kind of picking everybody else off from the outside, and you were sitting there at the center. So,
yeah.
I mean, is that how you felt things were running? Did you kind of look at it that way, that you two were kind of mostly running the house?
Sort of. Helen really didn't run the house at all, to be honest with you. It was
and CBS kept giving her credit for it. Oh, I was furious.
Yeah. No, Helen didn't really, run the house. I think people liked Helen because she was so nice and positive, and she was a mother, and she was sweet, but she didn't really play any of the game. She even thought that final 3 alliance with her, McCrae, and Andy that I had them make was her idea. So yeah, no, it was. I mean, I hate to sound like an asshole, but it was pretty much, I was the powerhouse.
That's all right.
I have to follow that up with one other similar question. When you guys were on Inside Lockdown, and she would wake up well before anybody else, especially you and McRae.
Oh, this is good.
And she would start what I called prancercising around the house. A tiny little woman somehow was able to make these loud noises with her feet. I'm a light sleeper. It would drive me nuts.
What? You know what? I'm not a light sleeper, as you guys know. So I was dead at that point. Helen's like getting up when I'm going to bed. In that house, there were times I didn't go to bed till like 6, 7 a.m. I would stay. Me and McCrae were both night owls, so we would sleep a lot during the day, and then be up at night and talking and yada yada yada. So I slept through all of her prancercising.
Another thing that I don't know how much you were privy to. I don't think you were privy to a lot of it, but one of the things that Helen did was that she would preach to certain groups. Alyssa was one of them. She would talk to Spencer and Howard, I think. She kept this whole, the good people are going to win. We can't have the. In other words, you were not one of the good people, Amanda.
So towards the end, yeah, I was.
Well, no, this went on a lot. You just didn't hear it.
Oh.
Well, Scott's got to. I think.
Yeah, here's a clip.
Scott? Yeah.
We all can win a competition, people. Okay, my competition is to show you all, go fight and win it. Don't let him bully you. And even if we don't win a competition, guess what? Candace, we have the votes. Okay. The good people are going to win this game, okay? The good people are going to win this game.
Drove me nuts.
I think that's when Jeremy was in the house.
I was considered a good person until she wanted to get me out of the game.
Okay.
I was considered a good person until I was a threat to her. So in her mind, the good people were the people that weren't a threat to her.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. She also liked to preach to the camera a lot. She'd say, "Look, America,
God, she
America,
talked to the camera all the time.
America, you got to vote." Oh, God, it drove us crazy.
My
she
favorite.
actually thought that she was going to get MVP. She literally, legit, in her head, thought that she was loved enough to get MVP. And I was thinking to myself, there is no fucking way.
My favorite was when there was that whole thing when Aaron was HOH, and Helen was on the block and was going to go, and all the crap with her and Alyssa. Alyssa spent an entire day bad-mouthing Aaron, and then suddenly wanted to be her best friend. Whatever. Helen turns to the camera and goes, I cannot be shown on TV as swearing because I'm a mom and I have a political career. By the way, when she won her HOH, her only HOH win, what was the thing she said on national TV? Fuck yeah!
Ellen sweared a lot. She's like, fuck yeah, I get to see my kids. And we made fun of her for that for a long time. Yeah, Ellen cursed a lot.
We know.
So one other quick question, and this is only because it's because now all of the 16 house guests, 15 of you guys are on Twitter or on the social networks. The only person we haven't heard or seen from so far is Helen. Did she ever say, I won't be online, you guys won't see me, or you think she's just waiting to get online?
She didn't say anything. I think she's just waiting. I think that she was really in there to play the game. I'm not sure if she really, and she has 2 young kids that she hasn't seen in 3 months and her husband. So I think unlike another mother on the show, right now she's focusing on her child and
actually,
her children.
She's the only one. She's the one who talked about America the most. And I've written a few blogs. I was like, I wish Helen would stop making me part of her goddamn alliance. Is pissing me off because she keeps saying, America wants to vote this. Yes. America, you're going to vote for this. America, you're rooting for us. And then she even said to Andy once, she said, America is on the edge of their seat to see how you're going to vote. And it was just ridiculous. And we're all like rolling our eyes like that, and it was a trending topic on Twitter. STFU Helen. Shut the fuck up, Helen.
Yeah. And, well, listen, then don't complain she's not on Twitter.
No, I'm not.
But we get a lot of people asking us, is Helen on Twitter yet? And I really do, for what it's worth, I really do like to be accurate in that, or to say, no, this isn't this person's account.
As far as I know, she is not on Twitter.
Okay. So now I've got these list of questions, and now for some reason I got lumped with this list. A couple of criticisms about your gameplay or the negativity. I think we've already addressed the spending a lot of time in bed, kind of out of the loop. You've already said that. You were a night owl, so you were in bed most of the day.
Me and McCrae pretty much were the last people to go to bed. Besides, I don't know, Judd never slept, so I don't know how he even lived. But we went to sleep really late at night, so we woke up around 1, 2, 3 o'clock.
So one of the other things that I'll be honest with drove us crazy to a certain extent, or at least we said on several occasions. I hope at some point you'll go back and listen to all of our previous podcasts, but I could understand if you've had enough of Big Brother by that point. But one of the things that would come up several times is, Amanda, you are taking over that head of household room. How do you manage every week to be sitting in that head of household bed within an hour of the person getting head of household? You guys camped out in that room.
Yeah, I don't really have a good. I just liked that room better than anyone else. I really was the head of household. I just didn't get the actual competition. Why not park my ass right in there?
I mean, I would post pictures. I would say, oh, look, Amanda's in the head of household bed, and Aaron's the head of household, and Aaron's downstairs somewhere else. How did she get up there? And you will get teased by a lot of, or abused by a lot of fans online about the amount of time that you and McCrae seem to spend in the bed, even when you were not head of household.
Well, we deserve to be up there because we were actually the head of household.
Yes.
I'll take that as an answer. I can't argue. And just the other, so another thing here was about being your paranoia. It wasn't just the Judd thing. There was other times where you really
it was everything.
It was funny though. We would watch you, and not to. So there's another version of Big Brother on right now. That's Big Brother Australia, and I only say that because you could watch. There's a character in there, Tim, and when he turns his sight on a person, it's like, they're going. And for at least the first couple of 3 or 4 weeks, it was like, Amanda doesn't like this person. That person's going to be going.
Let's play that clip.
It really didn't work that way for you, but partly it was your paranoia that was doing it. It was like they really didn't do what she thought, but man, she wants that person gone.
Let's play that clip.
Howard, I'd say But it was really, I had some sort of a way about manipulating other people to get rid of people that really wasn't a threat to them. It was a threat to me. But the fact that me and McCrae were together is numbers. So I'm like, if they get rid of me, then it hurts our numbers. So I was able to manipulate, like with the Howard situation, with the Judd situation, getting them out of the house, whether it was a good decision or not. It was good for me.
Speaking of Judd.
Oh, yeah. We have a special guest that would like to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
This is J-U-D-D. I'm really happy to be out of the house right now. I'm just listening to some Skinner and drinking some beer. But I want to ask you, though, could you ever understand what I was talking about?
Oh, my God. I had to say, I think I was the number one person that could not understand what Judd was saying most of the time. But I love Judd. Judd and I were texting today.
I love you too.
I love you, Judd. No, Judd's amazing. Evicting him was so hard. I love him so much. And again, me and him, he was the other guy that I was closest to besides Andy. It was me, him, Andy, and McCrae for a long time.
If you love me so much, why did you kick me out? I don't understand. You kicked me out twice.
Well, we had to evict Judd the first time because I didn't trust him anymore. He broke the trust within our alliance that we had, which I don't think that they've introduced it yet. We called it the Goof Troop, but we had to stop calling it that because it was a copyright infringement.
We knew it, and we knew all that happened, yeah.
Yeah, so the Goof Troop was going strong until Judd started lying about the Caitlyn thing and about the grasshopper thing, which was actually the truth. But he never told us about it. Then he started turning on Andy, being like, don't tell Andy this, and I don't know. He just started getting a little weird and shady, and I just couldn't trust him anymore, and he knew too much, which is why I just had to backdoor him.
I'm not weird. I just didn't take all my Xanax that day. I'm sorry you feel that way. You know, if you ever want to come, is it Arkansas I'm from or whatever, where I'm from?
Tennessee.
I'll have some beers with you. We'll listen to some Skinner and get in my pickup truck and go for a ride.
Yeah, I love Judd. Although I've seen some of the things that he said in his diary room about me that I'm not too keen about. I keep texting him. He's like, I love you. I'm sorry. I was mad when I got back in the house. And I was like, all right.
Oh, yeah. He did come back with an attitude with you. That's for
sure.
Oh,
yeah.
First thing you said in the door, you ran right to Alyssa and go, I want Amanda out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of needy people, let's talk about Jesse a little bit.
I can't believe how much they didn't show with Jesse.
Well, one of the first, I think it was the second episode, there was a great scene where they showed Jesse wanting basically every boy in the house, and she was kind of whining to you about it, and you had a great diary room comment about I don't know if it was about being on The Bachelor or whatever, but you basically
which is
said
ironic right now.
I know, it's so funny.
Well, no, I said listening to Jesse is like something about a Justin Bieber concert or something like that, and she was just such a headache in the beginning.
My favorite line though that you ever had to her is, "Go sit down and be half pretty."
Yeah,
semi-pretty. Semi-pretty.
That made what magazine? You tweeted an image of that.
Yes, and actually, Amanda, I saw you tweeting about this.
Semi-pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, Amanda, I saw you tweeting. I was actually the one. I have like an online subscription to Entertainment Weekly. It was me who caught all those clips of you in those soundbite issues. You got 2 of them, I think, and I think McCrae got 1. So when you would get those front pages, I was like, look who made Entertainment Weekly again. And then all of your fans would retweet. It was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's so cool. I
would DM your dad, and I was like, you have to buy this issue. You have to make sure she gets it as soon as she gets out of the house, because I know she's going to want it.
Yeah, that was so cool. But, the only reason I started having a problem with Jesse is because Jesse started hitting on McCrae hardcore. Like for instance, I don't know if you saw this on the live feeds, but it started to get out of hand when we're all sitting in the bathroom and she's straightening her hair, and I'm sitting there and she's like, McCrae, will you hold this piece of hair for me?
We saw that.
And then she asked McCrae for his lotion or something like that. When this lotion for the house, like she kept making these like very sly. Did you guys see that, the whole lotion thing?
We saw the lotion incident. Yes.
And then I chewed her out. She stopped once I went, and they didn't show this either. I don't know. Well, you guys probably saw it. Well, upstairs in the HOH bathroom when she was in the bath, and I just basically ripped her a new one.
I believe that did make the feeds.
Well, I think we need to jump to my favorite fight that you had with her. This was a late night one that we only got to hear. We didn't get to see, although they showed part of it on CBS.
Right.
Yeah, there was technically.
By the way,
you want to gang up on me, both of you.
No, it's all you. Don't play the victim, Jesse. Your fucking card. I'm going to make you a fucking shirt. America, please make a shirt for Jesse. I am a victim.
Jesse,
with Jesse's fucking face underneath it. Oh, it's so easy for you to say bully. I'm a bully. I bully you. No, I'm pissed because you tried to flip the house on me twice. So go fuck yourself, Jesse. That's not me being a bully. That's me defending myself. Go fuck yourself. Oh, and guess what, Jesse? You think that McCrae is the sexiest guy in the house, and that you check him out all the time? You're a fucking.
Speak for themselves,
I'm so
Amanda.
fucking insecure. I'm so insecure.
You really are.
Go hit on somebody else's guy. Oh, and all the women out there, please beware. This woman likes to snatch up your husband. Hide your husbands. Hide your boyfriends, because this bitch will fucking try to steal it.
Right.
I love that rant.
They cut that. That was driving us crazy.
That lasted for a while. That was only the outtakes that happened on the inside
so
too.
good.
For fighting. Jesse,
But it was.
you know what? That was a little bit. Jesse had kept continuously trying to flip the house on me, and it was because she wanted McCrae. She said in the beginning she was hitting on McCrae, and then she said that she wanted a person. She liked McCrae, and then Aaron told me right before that fight, which kind of sparked that fight too, that we were playing. Long story short, Aaron told me that Jesse had told Aaron that she thought McCrae was the sexiest guy in the house, and she checks him out all the time. And fuck with me, but don't fuck with my friends, my lover, or my family, because I will kill you. It will rip you a new asshole. Not actually kill you, everybody. Don't take my word.
Oh no! Uh-oh, headlines.
But she fucked with the wrong person, and she continuously, week after week after week, tried to get me out of the house, and she was pushing so hard. It was annoying.
Well, it's kind of the reason, like, she went after
fight.
Caitlyn, too, just because she kind of liked Jeremy. She went after anybody who had a guy.
But the only reason she wanted me out, because I was not going after Jesse until Jesse started going after me. And if you notice all my gameplay, I did not go after someone until they were going after me. If I was loyal to them, I was loyal to them except for Judd, because I wasn't sure. He was the one that I wasn't sure about. I had to go with my instinct, and my instinct was wrong once out of the entire game. Well, besides Andy. But I only went after people who went after me. She kept going after me, and it was for personal reasons, because she wanted my boyfriend, and it was annoying.
I can understand.
Definitely. Well, Jesse Dill did have the last word in all of this.
Fuck you, Amanda. Fucking hate you.
That was so weird that she did that.
We were laughing so hard.
You were so you're like, wait, what? Why did she say that?
Yeah, because when she left, we were on, like, I basically told her, every single person who walked out of that house knew where my vote was lying. And I basically saved them the time to not campaign to me, because it was not going to change my mind. And so me and Jesse had left on pretty good terms, because everybody was lying to her, and I was the only one who was telling her the truth. But I guess in the jury house, she was stewing over things, and she was annoyed that now me and McCrae could have some peace, that her big ass is not in the house anymore.
You mean her butterscotch ass.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
It was butterscotch pussy. Get it right.
Oh, thank you, Spencer.
All right, Colette, it's time for you to bring out one of your other favorite characters.
All right, so Amanda, you know I was a big fan of yours. I've supported you all season, but I have to admit that there was another house guest that I had a soft spot for much more than you. She is a horn-tootin', smack-talking, sassy broad with maybe a touch of the Alzheimer's. I was wondering if it's possible for me to talk to Booby just for a second.
Oh, hey, guys. How are you? Bobby, the New York Jew, who will tell it like it is, especially on New Year's.
Booby, do you love Colette Lala?
I love Colette more than I love myself, more than I love my grandchildren.
Okay, so people got so fired up about Bobby.
You were such a
truth be told,
you were such a bully to poor
they
Alyssa.
were so fired up. They were glued to the feeds. They couldn't even tear themselves away. So explain to us the inception of Bobby and what you were hoping to accomplish with her.
Well, first of all, Alyssa lied the entire time by saying that she didn't want to backdoor me that week. She absolutely did. No one ever told me, but I just knew it. So it was annoying. And the fact that I won that veto was so glorious. It was like one of the most glorious moments of the entire season. And Alyssa was pissed. She was super pissed. And then she started getting personal with me. She was talking about personal issues, about a miscarriage that I had.
We heard it and discussed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was using that something very personal and very hurtful, and saying that, basically twisting it and saying that I had an abortion or something along those lines. That wasn't true. And it was very hurtful to me. And finally, she just pressed the wrong button. She got personal with me. She attacked me, and I was going to attack back.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of understood it, and we thought it, it was part of a grand master plan for, Andy to then go up and console Alyssa. But to the average, everyday, just CBS viewing audience, they didn't get that. And we kind of felt, and I'm sure, you've heard it by now, that you were the bully. You were the bully that was harassing poor angelic Alyssa.
Yeah, well, it was a game, and you have to be convincing in the game. When Jessie pulled her Killer Kowalski, it obviously didn't work very well for her. And not only did I have pent-up aggression towards Alyssa for being so hurtful, but I also wanted to keep Andy off the block. I wanted to keep my alliance safe. I was so loyal to them that I didn't want to have to make that decision between Andy and Aaron. So I basically tried to, harass Alyssa a little bit so that Andy could go up there and console her so that she would feel like loyalty to him. And it's the wounded animal method. It worked a couple times. It worked for Howard a lot of the time, and it worked for a little bit. She almost did put up Gina Marie as the replacement nominee.
So now I know you were called to the diary room, and the entire house were like, they started cracking up. They're like, oh my God, Amanda's going to do a diary room dressed up as Granny / Booby. It's going to be hysterical. And literally 5 minutes later, you came out and you said, oh, I have to wash off my face. And so did they warn you? Did they say, hey, you're crossing the line, it's bordering on bullying? Did they say anything to you along those lines?
Yes.
Wow.
No, the reason why I had to wash off my face was because I did a little bit of Bubby shtick, and then I had to do, for continuity purposes, I had to go back to Amanda face. But one of the executive producers had to come in on a Sunday, and basically he couldn't tell me to stop. I kept going into the diary room asking, am I breaking any rules? Am I breaking any rules? And they said no.
Good for you.
So he came in and basically was like, all right, have you gotten your point across? It's gotten to the point where Alyssa's saying that she's threatened. Alyssa wouldn't go down to the diary room. And at this point, I was getting annoyed because in the rule book, it says that you have to go to the diary room when you're called, no matter what. And Alyssa was refusing to go to the diary room. And she was using the fact that she's saying I was threatening her, that they were saying, but then they would call me in and they'd be like, you can't touch her, you can't block her from walking. I was like, I'm not going to touch her. I'm just verbally talking. I'm not going to touch her. It's not like that, But I had to be convincing of what I was doing, and they basically ended up talking me out of continuing, because I would have gone on for days and days.
Fascinating. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah. Okay, so while
I wasn't allowed to talk about it either. The conversation in the diary room with.
Oh no, you're not allowed to talk about production. We know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we're
God
loving
knows
this.
we heard that every time you guys did.
I also knew that it would upset. I think that it would upset a lot of the live feeders if they knew that Alyssa's using I feel like she's threatening me, and that it got so elevated that they had to basically make me stop, which they couldn't. I didn't have to stop, to be honest with you. I could have kept going if I wanted to, but I decided, you know what, let's just get the show on the road. I felt at that point I was making it more difficult for the producers to do their job, because they needed Alyssa to go to the diary room to do the 4 words that she could put together as a sentence. So, so I left it alone at that.
Oh God. Okay. So while we're on the subject of kooky in-house shenanigans, I gotta ask, why did you go behind the trash can to cry when there was a perfectly good bathroom available to you?
You know, this is like around the time I started having like that mental breakdown in the house. I sat down first, and then I did not want to be on camera. Even in the bathroom, there's a camera. So at this point, there's a camera in the bathroom.
Oh, we know. Yep.
So I did, and then I'm sitting down, and I could still see cameras seeing me. So at that point, I'm just like, well, I'll just pull this in front of me, and I didn't realize what an idiot I looked like until literally like an hour later. I was like, I pulled a fucking trash can in front of me. I pulled a Rachel. I hid in the bush.
Yes.
Oh yes, that's exactly.
It was literally the trash can was sniffling. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Actually,
it wasn't one of my finer moments.
People said you surpassed Rachel by pulling the trash can in front of
and people put up like side by side photos.
Let's be real. It wasn't a trash can. It was a recycling can. I'm green, okay? And I wanted the world to know that recycling is the best way to green.
So it was a PSA then.
So is what?
It was a PSA, a public service announcement.
Exactly. I just try to help the world.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Oh my God. Okay. So there were a lot of heated moments, a lot of emotion, a lot of passion, but there was one in particular that I found, I'm going to say, quote, empowering, for lack of a better word. Let's fast forward to your last week in the house, where you were making stuffed peppers in the kitchen, and out of nowhere, Gina Marie explodes on you for a look that you gave her.
Yeah.
Can you give us some
how's yeast infection doing?
I instigated that.
I'm not dirty.
Oh.
Let's play the clip, and then you can talk.
Okay.
Hold on, how's your yeast infection doing? Okay. Because I'm not dirty.
How are your 2 clit rings doing?
Oh, they're actually doing fantastic. They're doing fantastic.
You're a 33-year-old woman with a tongue ring.
Yeah, and I like it.
Class act.
That is a class act. I like it. I like piercings. How about your nasty ass fucking tattoo, you tramp?
Yeah,
Look
well,
at
that was a mistake.
It looks like you just took a fucking tramp stamp and went like this and smeared it all over yourself. That's how nasty that shit looks. Talk about piercing. At least I could take my shit out. Yours is there to stay. Oh, I'm sorry. I drive an Audi, but I can't afford to get my tattoo removed. Oh, sorry. The money. Oh, I don't have any money. Oh. But I can't get my tattoo removed. That probably costs $300 to remove.
Keep going.
I don't know what looks better, that or your face.
She is the worst insulter.
You know, she had a lot of pent up anger because of, I believe it was because of because I got Alyssa's vote, or I had Alyssa's vote, but at that point, I don't know if she was in the exterminators yet. She may have been in the exterminators.
She was.
But so she had so much aggression towards me because of mine and McCrae's relationship, to be honest with you. She was so psychotic about the whole Nick thing, and she was really hateful towards me from the beginning because me and McCrae had an actual relationship and she never did. And she actually started hating me when Nick left, because I feel like when Nick was there, she didn't like hate me like that much. But then when Nick left, she just couldn't stand the fact that there was a relationship in the house and she didn't have Nick.
For that particular, real quick? For that particular fight, she knew she'd been up in the head of household, and Judd had been filling her in, and knew that, and she'd seen you the entire day being buddy with Alyssa all day, and it was driving her crazy. And it was driving her crazy because she knew that the plan was you were going, and you didn't know it. and she was mad that you seemed very happy, thinking that you were going to be safe. And meanwhile, she knows you're going.
That week.
she knew it. So she was mad at you for seeming happy, and yet she knew you were going, but she couldn't allow you to feel happy. So that's kind of what led her to blow up. She just knew that it was going on. She's waiting for a chance to blow up at you.
Yeah, she was. She definitely, I don't know what why from the beginning she kind of never gave me a chance. Like there were some people in that house that never gave me a chance from the beginning, and I mean, she should have. I mean, there's no reason not to. I even for Gina Marie's birthday, like I decorated her, like while everyone else, she was crying in the cockpit, and she was crying, and I like took it upon myself to get everyone together and decorate her bed, and we were all like, giving Gina Marie some time, and for some reason she just never took to me well. So whatever.
Well, in reference to that fight, I wrote a blog about it. I documented it. I had photos and quotes and whatnot. And I said that it seemed so arbitrary that it was like out of nowhere, you're in there, you're cooking, you had maybe a smile on your face, and Gina Marie just unleashed. She's like, "Why are you smirking? Why are you doing this?" And you said, "I just got out of the diary room. I have no idea what you're talking about." Yeah. And I wrote that it came out of nowhere. And then all these people in my blog started to correct me in my comments, and they said, "No, Amanda was planning this. She planned this. She put this in advance somehow, and you aren't watching correctly. And Amanda wanted Gina Marie to blow up at her." So you told me I wasn't watching 24 hours a day that day. I just happened to catch this fight, and that's what I saw. So correct me if I'm wrong. Did you plan this? I mean, completely, and I know you're going to be honest with me. Yeah. Did you plan it? Was this something that you had orchestrated with McCrae? Did you want to set Gina Marie off?
I was being a little passive aggressive in the beginning. I was instigating for sure. She was so nuts about her bed with Nick.
Yes, she was.
Okay, so wait, but wait, how are you instigating? Because I don't know.
It was me. Okay, it wasn't just me. It was me and Alyssa.
Okay.
So Alyssa basically said that she wanted to sleep in that bed. She slept in the bed the night before. So Alyssa fell asleep in the bed at like nighttime. So I go to Gina Marie, kind of instigating, but I was like, "Alyssa's asleep in your bed." Like, and then you could tell the fear in Gina Marie's eyes, like, God forbid.
Because real quick, this was actually Gina Marie's head of household, but she was giving you and McCrae her bedroom for the night. Yes. And in her mind, she was going to sleep in her and Nick's bed. So,
exactly. Right. Which, let's get one thing straight. Nobody owned any bed in that house. Until, because nobody...
Except Gina Marie, because Nick's dead skin cells were walking around in that bed.
Everyone was so afraid to sleep in that bed that Gina Marie would, murder them if anybody slept in that bed. So that was pretty much concocted by Alyssa. More so, she's like, "I'm just gonna go to sleep in that bed and see what happens." And so that was sort of and I instigated by saying, Alyssa's sleeping in that bed. It wasn't supposed to get anywhere near what the blow up was. She was. Yeah. I thought that she would go in there and just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna sleep in here." You know what I mean? I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or it gets to the point, because a lot in the beginning of that argument, I was like, "I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with you." You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and okay, look, we have to continue with this fight, because this was a pivotal fight with Gina Marie, because so you confront unleash on her, she's unleashing on you, and then at one point you kind of walk away. You just Judd breaks it up and you walk away and you go in the have-not room. And it's okay. So after the fight, McCrae comes in. Sorry, there are dogs barking here in the background. And McCrae comes in, and there was a conversation that took place. And I'm going to tell you, look, I love McCrae. I like him. He's a nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
I like you together. But during this conversation, and I'm going to tell you, as a girl, I think every girl watching this.
Oh, God.
Wait, shut up, Mike.
Well, we got beat up for this, too.
Okay. I think every girl watching this was cheering you on. And, like I said, don't get me wrong. We love McCrae, But we were all kind of mildly horrified that throughout this whole thing, Gina Marie's yelling at you. She's calling you a whore. She's saying maybe you have cellulite and you're ugly and this, that, and the other. And McCrae's sitting there the entire time with his chin down in his chest
and
just
go to the clip?
Eating his Play-Doh. And we're all like, say something. Say something. And then so he goes into the, shut up a second, guys. He goes into the room and you are like, why didn't you stand up for me?
Okay, let's play the clip.
Why didn't you say something?
Let's play the clip. Let's play the clip.
You just sit there and let her fucking degrade me, make digs and digs, be like, okay, listen, like anything. You say nothing, you just fucking sit there, and which enables it. Like a pussy, you sit there and you watch her take these digs at me and start with me when I wasn't even doing anything to her. And what hurts the most is that you just sit there. And she says all of these, I don't care, McCrae. There comes a point where you fucking be a man and you stand up for me. Especially when she's like, I'm sorry, McCrae, like, I like you and everything. And you're sitting there like a big pussy. Like, I need a man, not somebody who's going to sit, like, you see somebody attacking me for no fucking reason, and you just let her keep going. You're not like, all right, this isn't, like, nothing. You just sit there. You just sit there and you just let it happen like you're a little boy. You're not a little boy. You're a grown-ass man.
Fucking playing a motherfucking game.
But she doesn't have power next week. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to attack her, but at least you could stand up for me or say something.
Okay, so that was kind of the first time where we saw you really questioning your relationship to him. And, you know, girl to girl, woman to woman, how disappointed were you in him at that moment?
I was pissed, you know, but I have to be honest, that's kind of McCrae's personality. He's not confrontational, but, you know, even hearing it again makes me angry. He's very indecisive. He's very non-confrontational. And he has said things in the past, like Alyssa, when Alyssa was attacking me, but he just sat there. It was really upsetting to me, because if anyone would have said anything to me about McCrae or even to McCrae, I would, you know, maul them with my words. But he just sat there, and it really.
I get that. I totally get that. And I wrote about this. I was like, if any guy I was dating sat there and let some other girl sit there and call me names and call me a whore or call me ugly, and he didn't stand up for me, that guy would no longer be my boyfriend. You know, and I like McCrae. I still like McCrae. I'm not attacking him, but I'm just saying, you know, in this moment, I was angry watching you as somebody, you know, yes, you've been sleeping with this guy this whole entire time. You're telling each other you love each other. He's talking about moving in with you. And he sat there. And it was really, I think a lot of your fans, these McCranda fans at this time, they were kind of disappointed that he didn't stand up for you. And I'm not going to mince words. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a disappointing image of McCrae at that moment. We were all like, stand up, say something. Yeah. Say something. Defend your girl. Defend your woman.
No, I felt the same way, but you know, we're all not perfect. He's not perfect, and he's just not. He was always very concerned about his game, and I think that he thought if he was to say anything, it would make a target on him, and you know, it's. There's really no words for it. It was a disappointment, and I think that he learned from it. I learned from it, and you know, that's it.
That all being said, because I did bite my tongue since Colette told me to shut up.
As she always does.
When we discussed this,
you guys keep interrupting me. I have important things to say.
When we discussed this right after it happened, when we discussed it on our show, I did say, I can understand where McCrae was coming from, and I don't think I would have said anything either. So I'm looking at it from the game perspective, and we watched this. We watched the uncomfortableness of those people sitting there at that table while this fight was going on, and watched McCrae, and just could tell. You could just see in his face while this was going on, he was conflicted. He didn't know what to do, and he's sitting there going like, I don't know. What do I do? Do I say, is it game or is it girlfriend? Is it game? What am I going to do? And
look at like Howard, like when Candace was fighting, Howard was in a weird position, but all he did was like, come on, let's go. He didn't have to sit there and fight my battles. I didn't want him to fight my battles.
If
we can stop. We could stop.
If McRae had said just at least let's just stop, guys, you're right. He could have at least done that. I will go that far. I wouldn't go as far as him to say he needed to look at Gina Marie and say, you need to shut up, you need to stop attacking my woman kind of thing. That would have been disastrous.
I mean, and this is totally a girl versus guy thing.
Yeah, it is.
A guy is going to be like, oh God, these girls are fighting. When's it going to end? And a girl's like, bitch, stand up for me.
Yep.
So, and Mike is kind of the perfect person to analyze the guy view because he's, you're super level-headed, you're not very biased, and you do look at it from a game point of view. And I'm looking at it as a girl, emotional. If this was my boyfriend, oh man, I'm going to smack him upside the head. Why didn't he defend me? Point of view.
As a gentleman.
So, and I'll be honest, this is a question. And I said, we're going to interview Amanda. Does anybody have any questions you want me to ask her? And this was a question that came up repeatedly. People said, I want you to ask her because you were very critical of McRae. Are you going to confront her about this? And I was like, yeah, I'll ask her. I like McRae. I do. I like him a lot. I love you guys together. I hope it works out. We're going to touch on this even a little later. But yeah, I'm not going to mince words. I said it before. I'm going to ask you, and I do want to know. These are the ups and downs of your relationship in the house. And it is kind of a love story that we've seen, a very awkward love story that nobody expected to happen. And then it did. And you turn into a power couple. And then he was in charge. And then you kind of became in charge, but you were never the HOH, but you were still in charge. And it became like a balanced thing where you would work out, the dynamic with each other. And so finally there was this fight that, okay, someone's criticizing one of us personally. Do we react game-wise or do we react in regards to our love for each other? So it was awkward for you just as it was awkward for us to watch.
That wasn't the first time that he and I had gotten into some sort of an argument because he didn't get involved. You know what I mean? So because I wanted him to either stand up for me or something like that because he and I will always stand up for McRae. I love him. He's a wonderful person. And I mean, look, he just turned 24,
Yeah.
He's from Minnesota. He's quiet. It's really not his style to be confrontational. So I think that he being in the house being with the most confrontational person kind of put him in an uncomfortable position a lot of the times because he was kind of torn between being, to be put in this position.
As a gentleman, I would have intervened.
I think it put him in a weird spot for his perspective, and if we end up talking to him eventually, I think this would be something to talk about. He had his own game plan when he went to the house, and he pretty much chucked that puppy out the window when he got involved with you, because I don't think that was in his game plan. And so I think at some points there he would kind of look and go, oh man, this isn't how I was expecting my whole Big Brother experience to go. And so he was conflicted in that way too. I'm guessing. I hate to put... Now that I'm talking to someone that was in the house.
Okay, it's super interesting because McRae is a super fan. He's a live feeder. Yes. He knows all these online sites. He's very hyper aware of all the cameras, whereas Amanda, this is why we loved you so much, and this is why everybody was so drawn to you, you had no idea and sort of forgot. Hello, honey, the cameras are recording you every second of the day. And that's why you were so captivating, was because you weren't hyper conscious, whereas McRae was. And you could see him questioning himself, and then you would react like a normal person would react. So it was a fascinating dynamic. And I think that's why so many people were drawn to you, because one of you was hyper careful and the other one was like, hey, I'm just here to play a game. I'm just here to win some money.
Oh, yeah.
So
that was true.
That.
Yeah, that was true even in the bedroom aspect. I'm we could do stuff and they can't fully see because we're under the covers. He's like, yes, they can.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You always see, but right before we were ever doing anything, he would just shake his head no, mm-mm. You know what I mean? That we're not going to do anything. But I ended up winning that battle most of the time.
Real quick question about that. I tweeted it at you a couple times in the last day or so. Our first I don't know if you saw it, but I tweeted you a link and said if you want to see what we saw for the first time on the live feeds, it was like 7 a.m. Sunday morning, after the feeds had started, and you guys are in bed, and you kind of leaned over and kissed each other a couple times. That moment, and I've posted you the time. It was like that was when we kind of freaked out. It was like, oh my God. What the hell? They're more than just friends. And I could just remembering your dad and your sister going like, oh, wow, okay. that moment was, I'm sitting Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting there replaying this and tweeting about it and talking about it. And one of my sons walks behind me who has watched the show, and he goes, "What? Those two?" So that moment is just, yeah. He knew when the cameras were on. It was
a very odd. It was weird because we were both sleeping and we both started to like feel, I guess, chemistry, and then it would just randomly happen. And I was a little worried about it, to be honest with you. I was like, "Don't talk about it. Let's not talk about it in the diary room." That's like, because I like wasn't ready yet. And then McCrae just like, I basically talked about it like the next freaking day, and I was pissed. But once the news broke, it just kind of went from there.
Oh, well, it was interesting to see. That's for sure. It was kind of a wild moment for us. It was kind of like, whoa. So getting back off of you and McCrae, let's bring it down since he did win the game as it ended out. So talk about Andy a little bit more. When when it came time for you to go, did you understand that he wasn't in the plan to save? He was kind of not, that this whole blindside thing was coming. Did you not know that, Andy was obviously playing lots of people.
Yeah.
Were you, I guess, were you have any clue at all that he wasn't in on the plan to save you? He wasn't going to be doing that?
At times McCrae and I thought that Andy was acting a little weird. But no, I was completely blindsided. That was the first time that I was completely blindsided, that I did not know like what was going on. And even when I was evicted, my first thought that it was Alyssa that voted against me. It ended up being Andy, and I was so surprised because I was so loyal to Andy from the beginning of the game, and I just had saved him the week before. So. But I did think the night before, I thought a couple of things. I was like, A, I need to get more collateral from Andy. And and B, if Andy was up on the block next to me, Andy would go home because I have McCrae and Alyssa now. So it didn't make sense for him to keep me there. Obviously, I'm not going to let him know that. But, yeah.
So speaking of collateral, is that where you got the Oregon shirt? Is that when you got that? I've seen you bottling it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you've got the Oregon shirt. You did give Alyssa back the ring. Now my question is, now that this is all said and done with, was that? And I know you were 100% positive it was really her wedding ring when it was in the house, because you said that. You said, I know, and I know this is real. Was it real? Did she really wear her real wedding ring in and really give it to you as collateral?
Yeah, it was 100% real. It was one of her. She wore 3 wedding bands, and it was one of her wedding bands.
Okay, I just was curious. We knew that. We were kind of totally stumped and shocked that she suddenly had done the 180 and decided to kind of keep you. But well, there's conspiracy theories about that too. By the way, that's a whole nother. Some people say that she walked into the diary room wanting to vote you out and then came out and decided she wanted to keep you. But that's a whole nother conspiracy theory, of being one that the production didn't want the 2 most controversial and exciting house guests to walk out the door in a short time. So, but that's another. We are. You can't speak for Alyssa, so we don't know what was discussed in the diary room.
Alyssa can't even speak for herself.
Well, there's that too. So, as it turned out, you did get voted out. It was, quite a shock for you. We knew it was coming. Colette, I will be speaking for her very briefly, just to say that this is when Colette kind of just tuned completely out of the feeds, stopped watching, didn't care about what went on the rest of the season.
That's what everyone said.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scott and I stuck with it. Scott kind of faded, but we were. But for Colette, that was it. She was done. She just. had that. She climbed in. We're talking. Colette had stepped away. I'm saying that
So
when
you talk shit about me.
When Alyssa, sorry. Damn, I made it almost all the way through. When
Did you just call Amanda Alyssa?
I said when Amanda was evicted, you kind of
get some candy.
you kind of went into a funk and kind of just tuned out of the feeds. And is that an understatement or is that kind of correct?
No, it's correct because the feeds got fucking boring. And if you know me, even if you're good or bad, all I care about is I need you to cause drama. I need you to be interesting. I need you to make me want to watch. I had no reason to watch after the drama left.
Right. So I was just tossing that in there to just let her know that you were such a fan that you were done with the show when Amanda left. But so you headed to the to the jury house. We always there's one of the things that people say is it'd be nice to have a camera in the jury house just to see what goes on. And they have shown less and less of the jury house every year. This year they pretty much showed almost nothing. But we did hear, I don't remember who said it on the backyard. Jesse, well, we heard did Jesse say it in the backyard? Somebody said in the backyard interviews that there was a good altercation between you and Alyssa in the jury house.
Did you talk about any of her altercations?
I don't know.
Tell us all.
My question is, things go on in the jury house that we never are privy to. Do you care to share any of those things?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. It didn't stop for Alyssa. She kept with her passive-aggressive remarks. We were playing apples to apples. Okay. And all I know is one of the answers for it, I put Jenna Jameson. And she goes, Amanda, are you a porn star? Come on, tell us the truth. Are you a porn star? I was like, nope, Alyssa. She's like, Amanda, come on. I was like, nope, that's mildly insulting. And nope. She's like, Amanda, you're a porn star, aren't you? So I said, about 45 times. I told her that I found it insulting. And she still continuously tried to ask me if I was a porn star. And that I let slide. I didn't even fight with her about that. Then afterwards, we would actually have to hide the alcohol from Alyssa because Alyssa would try to take all. I'm not even joking. She would try to take all the alcohol. She drank a lot. So they banned us after Alyssa went on this rampage. They banned us from having. We couldn't have alcohol anymore.
Oh my God, the bitch!
Wait. When did this happen? Before what eviction? At what point?
This is when I snapped on Alyssa in the jury house. Me and Aaron are in the kitchen making food, being pleasant, whatever. Alyssa comes in there and goes, Amanda. And she kept making comments to me and Aaron. She's like, you and Aaron are like two peas in a pod now, huh? I was like, yeah, we're friends. Then she goes, do you think you and McCrae are going to be together after this? I was like, yeah, I do. She goes, because he's very influenced and I don't know, I was like, what are you saying? She's like, well, I mean, in the house, he didn't stick up for you, so I don't think he's going to be there for you outside the house. And again, what's my motto? You can fuck with me, but don't fuck with my lover, my friends, or my family. And she did, and I just completely, I didn't even say anything to her besides, get out of my face. Get out of my face. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear you. La, 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 la. Get out of my face. And I just kept repeating that. That was the argument. Because I didn't want to fight with her. I didn't want to say anything I would regret saying later, and I just wanted her to literally get out of my face. She had no reason to be in the kitchen. She wasn't cooking. She was just in there to stir shit up. And even, and then there was another time downstairs where Alyssa's favorite thing was like, I can't believe they would put me in a house with all of you people. It's like, you guys are so like disgusting. And
she said things like that all the time.
Oh, all the time. So she said it downstairs when we were painting. Even Candace. So I said to Alyssa, I go, so you don't see how that comes off as you think that you're better than everyone else. It wasn't supposed to be in a way to like poke her. I just literally wanted to be like, do you see how it could come off that way? And she went nuts. And Candace had to tell her to, Alyssa, stop. Alyssa, stop. Like, they're not going to give us alcohol anymore. Alyssa, stop. Because Alyssa was drinking and she would fly off the handle and just be super aggressive towards me. So... And then she threatened me before the round table. She threatened me. She was, if you say anything bad about me, I'm going to talk all of this crap about you and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm kind of upset that Alyssa was really portrayed as this victim, because she really tortured not only me, a bunch of people in the house for a long time, and there's no way of getting that across because her sister has so many fans. It's not Alyssa fans, it's Rachel fans.
We know. Yeah, we were aware. I mean, I said at the beginning of this when we were talking, we didn't care for the stunt casting, and you won't find any of us. Well, Colette wasn't with us on our first season, but Scott and I definitely were not crazy about Rachel in her season. It's not that we don't. Now, this isn't a personal thing. It was just we didn't care for them on the show, and so that's why we weren't pleased about Alyssa being on the show. Yeah, but so. The one other question about the jury house. So we've, obviously we know very little.
Do you want the Jesse fight?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Well, but real quick.
No, let her go to the Jesse fight.
All right, go to the Jesse fight.
So Jesse was very weird in the house. I think she would snap. Oh my God, you guys don't know what happened at the finale with Jesse either.
Oh, we want to hear that.
Wait. That's after the.
No,
the jury
let her
house.
tell both stories.
Okay.
I know.
So we'll go jury. Okay, the jury house. She basically, everyone started kissing Alyssa's ass because they started to realize that, oh wait, Alyssa's gonna have a huge fan base, and we better be nice to Alyssa, so we get fans too. So Candace brought up the fact that Jesse smokes weed, and Jesse got mad. And all I know is that I walked into the theater room, and Jesse and Candace were screaming at each other, and it was glorious. And I missed most of it, but I caught the tail end of it, and it was really a beautiful time for me to watch, because it didn't involve me. But just to finish the Jesse thing, Jesse and her mom got so sloshed at the rap party. Jesse's mom was grabbing people and grabbing Jeremy's crotch, and no, I swear to God. And
wait, who did?
Jesse's mom. Jesse's mother was.
Well, we know he has a MILF thing. That's why I was curious.
Let her go.
She was grabbing all these guys, and Jesse's mom was throwing up in the bathroom. Jesse stole a golf cart, she was getting taught, and Jesse was screaming at the producers and everything. They were wasted, and I didn't even get to get wasted because I was in freaking press and everything all night. But Jesse, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. They were both embarrassing, to say the least.
So in the back to the jury house real quick, how involved is production in the jury house when you guys are in there painting or playing apples to apples? Is there somebody from production sitting there with you, or are you completely alone?
No, we're there. We have 2 people during the day, 2 people at night, and they have to stay there and monitor us to make sure that we don't talk about games, so that we don't influence the other jurors about how to vote.
Really? So they really, because we've always heard that, but I couldn't believe they actually. It would seem to me that if you wanted to, you would find ways to discuss game in the jury house.
We found ways, but it's kind of annoying too, because, for instance, when Judd and that was, and everybody hated Gina Marie. Okay, no one was going to vote for her, even if she was up against Spencer. No one would vote for her. And
there's a question we're going to ask now.
Even if she went up next to McCrae. No one would have voted for Gina Marie. Now Judd comes in the house, and Judd starts campaigning for Gina Marie all over the place. Again, this is an example of Judd being very influential, and he got most of the girls to start liking Gina Marie when everybody hated Gina Marie. So that's
How did he do that?
He was just saying that she had the greatest gameplay, and that she was the most loyal. She was just a really good game player when she was a horrible game player. And just the fact that he even said that, I'm like, ugh. It was just very, very.
I thought it was so embarrassing that he ended up voting for her along with Aaron. I thought, I think that this is a thing that he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. That he actually voted for this ridiculous girl who can't even put his sentence together to win $500,000.
That whole dynamic thing, which he couldn't say the word dynamic. They helped her in that edit. She was sitting there trying to say the word dynamic for a good 5 minutes. She could not say that word. She kept going and going and going, but
Amanda, if you want to do something, go back to the CBS site and check the head of household Gina Marie's first blog, which you guys comforted her on because she knew how bad she'd written it. Go back and read that one, and then read her second one. It is very apparent that someone completely rewrote her second.
It's like a HarperCollins publisher edited her second one compared to the first one, where it was like she couldn't even
Night and day.
spell the word "and." Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Because again, you guys know me, and I'll speak my mind, but I do have to say that I feel bad for Gina Marie. I think that I don't want to make fun of her, or let's say being not the smartest person in the world. I don't think it's her fault. I think that she may have some sort of perhaps a learning disability or something like that, because she to be on a more serious note, and I just think that it's unfortunate, and
we felt we did not, while we may laugh at it or kind of make light of it, at the same time we're realizing that it wasn't.
I felt bad for her, to be honest with you, because she's like, I'm like, I never called. I mean, I may have called her stupid. Let's be honest, but like, she'd be like, she would call herself stupid all the time, and it sucks to hear somebody think that way about themselves. But even in our fight in the end, she's like, "You call me stupid?" I was like, "I don't call you stupid. Like I don't call her stupid because I feel bad for her."
Right.
Sorry to shut that down so quickly, but I just
That's okay. No. I was simply saying, just go check. I'm not talking about Gina Marie. I'm talking about just it's an interesting read to go read her first Head of Household blog and her second, to see that, as you said, production helped her with the word that she couldn't say. They helped her in other ways too.
And there was a big fuss made over that first one, and she did cry about it. She cried about it in the.
We watched it.
She cried about it to a bunch of people. People were consoling her and saying it's okay.
She said it to me and Helen, and I was the one consoling her.
Yep. No.
Yeah, in the cockpit, and then
she still hated me.
And you know what? And to be quite honest with you, her first blog was not nearly as bad as like 3 of Rachel's HOH's blogs from every season that she's been on. Like it's sort of like a slang that like, hey yo, you like me and this and that and that, like, and it's abbreviations and all that. Her first blog, it was bad. It was misspelled and there were a lot of things wrong with it. But to be quite honest, Rachel's, and I've made fun of this in my blog, and I make no apologies about it. I did an entire blog imitating Rachel. It was probably one of my most popular ones. It was ridiculous. I think that Rachel is worse than Gina Marie as far as it comes to typing on a computer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have no problem saying that, and I'm not going to apologize because Gina Marie, okay, if she has a learning disability or whatnot, you're much nicer than me. I'm not going to go out of my way and try to be nice just because she said some really shitty things, and and some of it, it's ignorance and she doesn't know any better, and maybe she was brought up this way, but then there was a lot of it that it was malicious and, oh, that girl's so ugly or she's so fat and why is she doing this and I'm pretty, and so it's like I hear all of this bullshit that she's saying, and it makes it harder to forgive her that, oh, maybe the girl can't spell. Sorry, I can't go there.
Well, that's really all that she, again, I mean, I take criticism pretty well. I have a lot of haters right now, and I really don't care, to be honest with you. And Gina Marie, that's all that she had, was to make fun of personal attacks. I would have been more upset if she would have attacked my game as opposed to attacked me personally, or even threatened my game. Like, that's when I was upset, when she, put me up on the block. You know what I mean? Like, for me, that's obviously upsetting. So she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but and
she's not taking an academic test. She's not trying to get into, a business school or anything. She would actually sit there and be like, and she would use her, quote, non-relationship with Nick as an argument to then call you a slut. And like I said, today, I went through all my blog. She called you a slut. She called you a whore. She accused you of sleeping around in the house. And every time you'd be like, how am I sleeping around? I've been with the same guy from the beginning. And you've been with me.
All I had to say, it was jealousy.
Yeah, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, Nick," and I love this kid, and it's kind of, and let's be honest here, and Nick has no intention whatsoever being with her. He never did, and it's a very strange thing, and it's something that everybody laughs at. And I mean,
It was crazy. It was so crazy. Like
yeah.
It was worse than Fatal Attraction. Like she was so scary. Like that they had to bring in the psychologist for her just about Nick multiple times.
Okay, so how do you know that and what was said? And
well, first of all, she called it not a psychologist. What's it called? What did she say? The people who tell the future?
A psychic.
So yeah, she called it a psychic. And she said they brought in the psychic for me to talk to like 5 times about the kid. She admitted it herself. So they brought the psychologist in to speak to her multiple times because she was scary. Like it was weird. It was like Fatal Attraction weird.
Yeah, I mean, and she would clutch on to his like boxer shorts and his hat, and and she had the shrine, and and it's not. And I know you guys, were noticing it, and you would talk about it behind her back. But imagine how the rabid fans were reacting. They were kind of going nuts.
It was very odd.
And Nick actually, I don't follow him on Twitter, but but I've heard about that he's actually been kind of diplomatic about it, and I kind of get the impression where Nick is like, "Hey, anything for attention, anything."
No, 100%. He's riding the Gina Marie train.
Totally.
Nick's been really good about it. He's been taking. We kind of joked about it early on in this season. Nick's been taking one for the moving company since week 2, and he's still doing it. But he's been really good about it with Gina Marie. Real quick, so. A couple more questions about finale night. You've actually answered the things that we had jotted down. One of them was if Andy had taken Spencer instead of Gina Marie, who would you have voted for? Though
Andy for sure. Everybody.
Okay. Okay, well, you know what? We all going into it thought for sure that Andy was going to be the winner, no matter if he won, no matter who he took, he was going to win it. But you still never know what happens. As you said, the house was completely one way, and then Judd came in and flipped the house, the jury house, that is. So, we never know for 100% sure. The other one another one we had was if Gina Marie had taken Spencer. Obviously, at this point, are you saying, well?
I would not know. I know that
Okay.
I would have voted for Spencer. McCrae would have voted for Spencer.
Okay.
Andy would have voted for Spencer. Let's see who else was in there. Aaron would have voted for Gina Marie. Yeah. I believe Candace would have voted for Spencer, maybe. I don't know, but
okay.
Alyssa would have.
It was more of a toss-up.
It was a toss-up.
Yeah. That's especially from what you said. It sounds like before Judd got in there, everyone would have voted for Spencer, but then once Judd showed up, he swayed a couple of people. So
yeah, which was
okay. That's interesting.
Even coming up with the questions, we have to come up with the questions to ask the final 2.
And you had to come up with those, okay?
Yeah,
didn't know if those were provided for you or not.
No, they're not. All of us, right after the round table with Dr. Will, we had to go up and meet with the executive producers. This is how it works. You go up, you meet with the executive producers, and you basically all decide on a couple of questions to ask people. Well, Judd was getting really heated because of the questions that we came up with Gina Marie. He knew that she was not going to be able to answer them well because she didn't have any answer. First of all, that one question that I asked her, OMG. They're like, maybe she won't get it. Maybe you have to put in it in the question, which means not getting me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we asked her prior to the exterminators, what was your biggest move, which means you can't say getting me out of the house.
Yeah.
She still said getting me out of the house.
She was asked that by Big Brother Network is another, that's one of the people you talked to before you went into the house. He actually asked her about that, and she pretty much admitted that was her only big move, so she didn't have much else to say. She was kind of stuck.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
it was.
Yeah.
But
yep.
What was the question? I don't know what I was ranting.
No. That was it was more about the Gina Marie and Spencer. You're the one who went off. You talk about going. You had to come up with your own questions.
Yeah, and Judd was getting mad because he was literally up there getting mad, and everyone was like, "Whoa, like chill out," because he didn't want us to basically ask Gina Marie anything real. He was getting mad about it. So if we're going to ask Gina Marie these things, like, why don't we ask Andy these things? And the thing is that Andy's a great talker. We try to get a good question out of him, try to get a good answer. But Andy can,
He spun it. He spun it to answer it the way he wanted to.
Yeah. I'm getting a call from Minnesota, but I don't think it's McCrae.
Oh.
So one last thing from me. So you guys are sitting there in the jury on the stage, and Julie starts to bring up this whole controversies about the language and things that made headlines, national headlines. Was that kind of hitting you, or at that point did you guys already have a sense for where things stood with the outside world?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Well, the racism thing I knew with Aaron. I had no idea that I thought the whole thing with me was just the bullying. I didn't think that because I'm not racist. Like, no one in that house could tell you in that house that they thought that I was racist at all. Not Howard, not I don't know, whatever. But after the interview, I'm sorry, my freaking phone is going off. Let me turn it over. So I was completely caught off guard. I actually had to be debriefed and people and the producers had to let me know, and a publicist had to let me know that you got looped in. At first, you were being portrayed as somebody who was defending minorities, but then, I'm like, listen, I'm a Jew. I make fun of myself. You know what I mean? Like I have the Howard Stern, Chelsea Handler type. Just like I make fun of everyone. I make fun of myself. It's just nothing that I was saying had any sort of malicious intent. And I apologize if I offended anyone, but that was not my intentions whatsoever. And obviously, I mean, this is the first time I've been in the public eye, and obviously people, will take what you say and it'll offend people. And I just hope everyone understands that nothing that I said was meant to hurt anybody. It was not done with malicious intent.
Howard Stern and Chelsea Handler would offend a lot more people if they were more in the public eye. You're right. And we, again, the group, the three of us completely understand where you're coming from, but we also know that if we were to take some Howard Stern comments, or for Scott and I, a couple other people we could come up with, and threw it out there to the same people that are watching you on Big Brother, they would be completely horrified with what's being said. So you were being played for an audience that wasn't going to, no matter what you say, it's not going to be accepted.
And you know what? It's still that way. There's nothing that I can say that people will understand or even accept an apology, because I'm not. All I can tell you is that I've never been racist. I'm not racist. I'm very culturally diverse. And it's so silly, really. Like I wish that I had not said those things, because if it actually did offend people and they don't just want to jump on the Amanda's a racist bandwagon, like I hope I didn't. I wish that I didn't offend people. That wasn't my intention whatsoever.
Gotcha.
All right, as we start moving our way to the end here, we have four people who can pontificate. Throw out a few little softballs to you. What was your favorite and least favorite moments?
I would have to say that my favorite moment was winning that veto. Giving that veto to McCrae, because I knew how badly I need to win that, and they all underestimated me. They all thought there was no way that I would win that veto. And I walked out there, and Zingbot's usually a puzzle or something like that, and it wasn't. And I was physical, and it was a hard challenge, and people were on like air and oxygen after that, and were throwing up, and I freaking won it, and I worked hard for it. And so that was probably my most glorious moment. My worst moment, I would have to just say, it was the week that I was leaving the house. It was for the first 2 days until I got Alyssa, I felt defeated. I got put, and they were, they had to put, whoever put me up would know that would have to be the one and only time I would have to go home, because if I got off that block, then they'd be screwed. And Gina Marie was right. Thank God I went home for her. Otherwise, she would have been going home. I would have figured out a way to get her ass out of that house the next week.
No doubt. Now, if you were able to do it all over again, what would you have done differently?
If I were to do it all over again, I would, well, what would I do differently? I wouldn't show my cards. I think everybody knew at a certain point that I was running the house. Everybody knew it. And I wish I was more, I would have given or let people think that it was that what they were doing was their idea. You know what I mean? It wasn't my idea. And also, if I was to do it all over again, if there was not a third nominee, I would not have been or I would have to keep that showmance really secret. I think the fact that there was a third nominee helped our relationship, still helped us to stay together because we always knew that we could get that third person out if me and McCrae were up on the block.
That's interesting. All right. Besides McCrae, what people do you see yourself maintaining friendships with?
Judd and Andy and I talk a lot. I was FaceTiming with Andy yesterday, and we have a group chat going on, and Judd and I text a lot. Erin called me yesterday and texted me. She wanted me to go to Vegas. So it's really, I was closest in the house with the Goof Troop. Me, Judd, Andy, McCrae, and I mean, and Erin too in the 3 a.m. Alliance. It's true in real life. You have to align yourself with people who you really like and who you can really trust. And it ended up that, it was those people.
Okay. And finally, how strange is it that casual conversations that you had 2-3 months ago are suddenly big topics that are analyzed and debated, and you have to come on a show like ours and talk about it so many weeks later?
It's very odd. It's weird, especially the negative ones, because now I look back and I'm like, oh, if I would have just kept my big mouth shut, like, it wouldn't it, you know what I mean? It's so, if any of those people who are haters of me because they consider me to be a bully or consider me to be a racist, if any of those people were in the house with me, maybe they would have thought I was a bully, but not a racist. No one in that house thought that. No, not one person. And even if they said that they did now, they'd be lying, because now they'd be able to see all of those, that reel that made me look so horrible, that YouTube video that they put out there.
Yeah.
It was so insane. But it's weird. It's very weird.
All right, Colette.
Okay, so I am going to be the closing person here. If the next season is an all-star season, would you consider playing Big Brother again?
Fuck yes. Sign me up. Every time I'm with the executive producers, I'm like, so by the way, all-stars. Yeah, if you ever think about it. And, I think I got a pretty good positive remark from them there. So I loved the whole experience. I loved Big Brother. I loved all the producers, and it was really awesome. It was very stressful, but that's the whole point of this show. And whether people loved me or hated me, at least I was fucking entertaining. So suck it.
That's awesome. Okay, I love that. Okay, this is like a ridiculously stupid question. Would you and McCrae be willing to do The Amazing Race?
Fuck yeah, we would do The Amazing. I think we wanted, that's like something, I forgot who they're signing like a petition or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. And between you and me, petitions don't do shit or result in anything, but
I still love the McCrana Mafia, yo. That is awesome. The hashtag McCrana Mafia is amazing. We have so much support. If it weren't for them, I'd literally be hiding under my couch right now, because there are so many haters. My phone goes off all the time with people that just have nasty things to say. And they support me. They want me to go on The Amazing Race with McCrae, and we are totally down. We would love to do that.
Yeah, and actually, when I asked people, I asked my Facebook friends, I said, we're going to have Amanda, we're going to interview her. What do you want me to say to her? And I was going through those questions today, and I have to tell you, I think 70% of them were just, tell her we love her. Tell her she's awesome. Tell her she's our America's favorite player. Even though she has haters, just let her know that we really support her and we like her. So
I feel it too. I go through my tweets all the time. I see all the support, and it just makes me so happy. It makes me feel that people understand me and understand where I was coming from, and it's really awesome. I love my fucking fans, yo.
So and your fans are dying to know what is next for you now. Are you going back to real estate, or is there an entertainment future going to happen?
I'm open to a lot of opportunities in the entertainment field. I'm taking a little bit of a break from real estate, maybe a month, but I plan on going back to it. And next week I'm going to see McCrae, so just taking some break, and we're going to figure out, if he's moving here or what the plan is. So, yeah.
Okay, and I have to ask you this really quick, because I know even your haters and fans are going to get mad if I don't. There are rumors, and in talking with your family, I know the truth, but I want you to clarify for everybody. Were you fired from your company, and did you have your real estate license revoked?
Oh, no. We had a lot of haters calling the corporate office of my real estate company. The thing is that I don't work for anyone. I work for myself under a company name. So I basically pay them out of my commission. So so my license is right now considered voluntarily inactive, which just means that I'm not doing real estate right now. But anytime I want to make it active again, it's not a problem. I'm just taking a little bit of a break.
I actually understand. I used to be a real estate agent. Surprise,
So
surprise
did I.
to anyone
Hey.
listening.
Banker too.
Okay, so here is an interesting question, and it's one that might be a little controversial, and it's one I'm going to attempt trepidatiously. Did McCrae warn you at all that there might be diary room sessions or clips on the feeds that you might not be happy with?
Yes, he did. He did tell me that. He's like, there's some things that are gonna, like, especially in the beginning, and then at certain points, he did tell me that there were some things that he said that he regrets saying. But I think we all say things sometimes that we regret saying.
Okay,
There was one very strong point that it was known that I don't want to say that we were being like forced to say one thing or another, but they were trying to make me and McCrae turn on each other. Not trying to make, they were insinuating, like, what do you think McCrae is doing? Do you trust him and stuff? Like, there was definitely some, like, because then if somebody asks you, do you trust McCrae? Then in my head, I'm like, well, should I not trust McCrae? Like, is there a reason for that? So there was one point in there that I think a little bit was prompted.
Yeah, there was one CBS episode where in the diary room, McCrae was like, I don't know if I trust Amanda. Maybe I should get rid of her. And it was so weird. And it was kind of out of the blue. And then like 2 weeks later, he's back super tight with you, and we never heard it again. And that's why I'm asking this question. And also, I know you guys get mad at each other. Every boyfriend, girlfriend does. And you say things and you regret them and whatnot. But it just so happens that in your instance, you are being videotaped every second of the day, and we see it all, and we're such nerds and dorks that we actually make note of it, and and we pay attention to that stuff. So I can't even imagine what it's like to come out and then have someone say, hey, Amanda, McCrae said this about you, or McCrae, Amanda said this about you, and then you guys having to deal with it. So I'm just wondering what that dynamic is like and how you kind of get through it as a couple. And it seems like you guys are super happy now. We see you joking around on Twitter. We know you're going to fly out to see him next week. And
yeah, I mean, it's in the house, it was really stressful, but we had a really good thing going. We were a good cop, bad cop. And we were always together in the house because we fell in love with each other. And I couldn't, like, even when I would go to the diary room, or he would go to the diary room and be like, I missed you. Like, it was so stupid. But, like, we became completely, like, codependent on each other because it's really hard to trust anybody. And it's really amazing to have somebody that that you can trust.
So this might be jumping the gun. I know you just got out of the house. I know you're going to see him next week, and this is just purely because fans want to know, and you've got a lot of McCranda fans. What is the next step here? Is he seriously thinking about moving with you to Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to him on the phone before. We're going to talk a lot more about it next week when I'm there. I'm going there for a little bit over a week, so we're going to spend a lot of time together. And yeah, he, as far as we've discussed, he just said, a couple hours ago that he was interested in moving here. He already has work set up for him here if he wanted to. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people loved McCrae. So
was it Domino's or was it Papa John's?
No, it wasn't, unfortunately. But
I couldn't resist.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what the future holds for me and McCrae, and hopefully we could do another season together, or The Amazing Race, or whatever else CBS would have in mind, because we love doing it. We love doing it together, and we literally love doing it.
I have an idea. I have an idea. Why don't they have you do the backyard in pre-show interviews instead of Jeff?
Oh, God.
You know what? I think that that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I think that I would stir up a lot more controversy and ask the bold questions
Yes.
in a very savvy way.
I completely agree. Well, I think 2 hours and 28 minutes later, we've exhausted all of the questions that we had.
We haven't exhausted, but
no, we could go another 2.5 hours.
Yes, we could.
But Amanda, this has been so much fun. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I did. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I really love that you had my back through it all, and I really appreciated the support. So you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you so much for getting my name out there and having my back.
Great. Do you want to give out your Twitter or anything before we close
Yeah,
up?
for sure. If you're not following me yet, it's rapidly growing. Join the McCranda Mafia. It's at Realtor Amanda Z.
Very cool. Should we go through and give our Twitters too?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Colette.
Okay, it's at Colette Lala, and I am currently blogging Survivor. You can find me at ColetteLala.com. And Amanda, thank you so much. This has been amazing. You didn't hold back. You didn't disappoint. And I've been sort of tweeting little quotes about you, and everybody is dying, saying, when is it going to be up? We want to see this. So, Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you. I loved you from the beginning, and I'm still a big fan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
Mike, go ahead with yours.
Yeah, my Twitter is BBGOSSIP, and that's about the only place that you may find me for hopefully the next 9 months, because I'm about ready to be tuned out of Big Brother. But I appreciate all you guys listening. Shout out real quick to Ash for the clips that we used again. Appreciate her help. Really appreciate you talking with us, Amanda. We were looking forward to this. We were, hopeful that it was going to happen, and it's turned out better than I could have imagined. So really, really do appreciate it.
Thanks. Well, I don't hold back, guys.
Especially
that's
thanks
for sure.
Especially thanks to your dad for being our supporter. He's fantastic.
Dadager. We got to thank the Dadager.
Oh my God. What's his Twitter? You should give him a shout out, because he would love that.
He's got it private though, because he got
yeah,
get
but wait,
bashed.
wait. Okay, it is. Hold on, I can pull him up in 2 seconds. It is at Zuckerman Robert. It's protected, but he's awesome. He loves his daughter, and he's been a friend of the show the whole season.
Yep. He's awesome.
And all right, and my Twitter is Big Brother Gossip with no E, so it's BIGBROG.
THR.
I just screwed it up. Anyway, look for Big Brother Gossip without the E. And again, this has been great. Thanks for sitting in with us. And I think that's it for us. Why don't we all say thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.